was I felt like every trade that I took was me pushing all of my chips in, so to speak. You know what
Yeah,
I
it
mean?
is when you're
Whereas
that
like,
leveraged.
especially with, oh, what contract do I pick? You know, yada yada yada. Whereas with futures, it's like, okay, cool, buy stop, right? Stop loss here, take profit there. I can see it, right? Risk 20, make, 100 potentially. It's like, okay, that makes a lot more sense to me, you know, and especially with the Greeks and the erosion, then the theta decay and all that. It's just, I felt like I had to have a PhD, you know what I mean, to make money with options. So,
Yeah, and well, to me, it's not fun. I mean, I trade shares. I like to trade stocks.
right.
Bitcoin trades like a stock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so this is the 1 minute right here. You see this Bitcoin on a 1 minute, and you can see it doing tiny little money flow patterns.
Yep.
And if I'm trading this, anytime it gets under this 200, that's it's an easy target. Price is constantly being drawn to it, and then once it gets above it, it tends to keep going above it. Once it gets below it, you'll see it. It'll hit it. Sometimes it'll take hitting it 2 or 3 times. So if we just kind of know that, and it's going to flow, that's what I'm looking for. That pattern of flow. If it's not doing it, it's not doing it. You can't make it do it. And those are days you probably just don't need to trade. Your strategy's not. If you're trading money flow, it's just not hitting the way it should. And then some days it's going to just run picture perfect. But if I'm trading this, that's a 1 minute, right? So, but I always, I'm always looking at time continuity. So I want to go at least one time frame higher. And, maybe in investing, you might even go one higher than that. So if I'm on a 1 minute, I'm going to move to a 5 minute. And if one thing you'll notice on this 5 minute, I always try to find the stage ones, price getting above the 5 and an anchor point. This probably would have been my anchor point, even though you got this bar that came lower. All it did was hit it and come back up. So just looking backwards, that's pretty obvious box section.
Yeah.
So, somewhere in there is my stage one. And same thing up here, and then the same thing in here. And, even on the I use the TSI if you have stock charts. TradeView, I don't think has TSI. You can see it, and even on the histogram, just the pattern begins to emerge, That's what I'm looking for. Just obvious, it's playing it. Now, obviously, this is looking backwards. So the sooner we can do this, the better. And so for me, I'm just always seeing this.
Right.
Let's see. Let me pull this up. Hold on, let me close this. Gosh.
Yeah, TradingView has the TSI, but it's not nice and clean like stock charts.
It's a different format, I think. Is it show it as 2 lines or is it 1 line?
Well, there's the trend strength index and then true strength index, and they both show one of them what is it? The true strength index has 2 lines.
Right, and that's the one you want.
And then the trend strength index is the one that only has 1. Those must be new because whenever I read your book for the first time and you said I don't think TradingView had it, it didn't have it. So, and that wasn't all that long ago. So,
yeah, they used to not have it, and I have it as a backup, TradingView, but God darn it! Sometimes it does this, man, and it goes into this weird ass mode and won't save any of the shit that I just. All right, so if this is the 1 minute, so the direction that I'm Well, right now we're on the 5. And so as I back up and I look at this, I'm seeing that pattern. So what I'm betting on is like, okay, this is my stage 1 in here.
Right.
Price is above the 20, which is that green line.
Yeah.
Actually it's right at the 5. And if we look, we got the 5, 10, 20. They're numerically aligned. I got the 200 up here. Price has been there before. It stopped here, stopped here. Got a little box section. So that's one things I'll look for. Now, this is more art than science, meaning spotting these little box sections. Like to me, this is one in here, right in here.
Right.
This is one in here. Right in here's one. Down here's one. Just areas where price just kind of clumps up, boxes up, This is a wide one up here. You don't normally get them that big. And the reason I spot these is when you watch price run, it'll get hung up in these areas. It's like a sticky zone, you may have heard me say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone use that phrase, but and again, more art than science. Like in here, there's one, and that's just how price moves. It just goes from like one sticky zone to the next. But my assumption is when it hits one, it's going to go to the next one. That whatever it's doing right now, I just assume it's going to keep doing. I'm not assuming the opposite. So let's pull this 5 up. So if I'm looking at this on a 5-minute chart, I'm thinking it's going up. I mean, it's down right now, but the general trend is up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boom. That may have just changed our mind right there. Let me look on the 1 minute here. Let's see. Oh, shit. I didn't have the goddamn. Right. Boom. Now, typically, if I'm day trading on this, and let's say this is a day chart. Let's say this is a day chart. So this is the 1 minute. So we were just saying on the higher time frame, it looked like it was headed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main thing that I'm looking at for direction of trend is this histogram on the 5 minute. Now you can use a different higher, it's fractal. So that slope right there, that's the direction I assume we're going. So same here, same over here. So I'm assuming, if you look at it, boom. Now we can add other things, right? Like support. And so sometimes that may give you, reason to kind of pause for a second. It's like, why aren't you closing the whole thing immediately? It's like, I don't know. Let's give this a second. Maybe over here was like a sticky zone. And, we got one here.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fucking support right around in here.
Well, and I've gotten burned doing, like you were just saying, it's like, okay, cool. Like you said, this is changing my mind, right? Like maybe I'd want to look at going short or whatever. Well, if I zoom out, right, I was in a big support zone from God knows how long ago, and then we immediately went right back up. And it's like, okay, well, if you would have just looked, a little bit further left,
Right. And a lot of times you can see that. Now, you got to be careful that every fucking 20 cents is a fucking support zone.
Right.
You'll ride that bitch all the way down,
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the things, I'll just cut it in half.
Yeah.
Let's pull this up. So we'll watch this play out on the 1 minute. I'm happy to just cut it in half. I mean, especially if you're day trading. Luis, you day trade?
No. I'm just, I've seen in the group, but not really. I haven't gotten because I don't feel like I'm ready yet.
You're in Discord with me?
I have Discord, but since I have not been trading, I'm just doing the second income.
Okay,
and right now,
that's what I thought you said. I didn't think you said you were in Discord. Just
Yeah.
making sure. I didn't recognize your name in Discord. So this thing's already turning around now stock charts moves a little slower. So when I day trade, I'm day trading on E-Trade's platform. And I, like I said, I don't day trade Bitcoin. I do play, paper trade it a lot.
Right.
So now to me, we got an anchor point right here.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Now it's just now starting. The 5 minutes still against us. I will trade against the trend in situations like we just said there, where I thought there was a lot of support. That would make me much more likely to trade against the trend. Now, well, +2. Remember, I was saying I would have just sold half.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be putting that other half back on. Now you might wait, because if we switch to, let's go to the 5 minute, it came down, tested that support, just like we were saying, right?
Yeah.
And it has bounced back. You may say, well, fuck, I'm not going to, unless it gets back above the 20, I'm just going to keep holding that half. You could be very conservative. I'm usually pretty quick to put it back on. Because the difference could be 10, 20, 30 cents. Well, on 100 shares, that's a few dollars, but on 1,000 shares, that's $300.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that TSI, one of the things I'm looking for here is this curl. As soon as it starts to curl, right in here, if you can catch that curl,
yeah,
obviously that's happening much faster on a 1 minute than on a 5 minute. And let's see where we're at on the 5 minute. See, on a 5 minute, everything's still kind of pointing down. Other than support and price, right?
Right.
The price is the most important.
Yeah.
And it's that level of support there too. It's like there's a concept that I'll talk about called back in the box. It's where price gets back up into a previous box. It's probably the most bullish movement you can have, where it breaks a level, turns around, comes right back. It's very bullish usually. So if I'm trading this now, which we are saying we are, now I got to look at where I'm going to put
I was about to say, I'm going to pull up the paper trade account and get it going. Might as well.
I'm going to probably be looking at taking some down in that 94, 300 range.
Yeah.
We should be in the green if it goes there. 94, 300. Where's the RSI? And so I'm going to use both these RSIs too. The 7 period's going to hit much faster. And the 14 is going to keep you in for those bigger gains. But I'll jump those guys if I'm coming into previous highs. Like, let's say it still hasn't hit and we're hitting right in here. I'll take it down. Third time's the charm. Like, it'll go down, down, down,
Right.
I'm going to assume it's not breaking through there. And then if it does, I might put it right back on. And then I assume we're going to the 200 here.
Right. I'm in.
We're at 94, 123.
What are you doing paper trading on E-Trade?
He's probably using TradingView.
I like TradingView's paper trading platform.
Okay, that's that was the first one I used. I started using stock charts because of GP, but I do like TradingView too.
The thing I don't like about TradingView is, if you're tracking lots of funds and lots of different things, I don't like their folder setup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because like I can come over here, I go take it down. Let's see, boom, come up, and click view all. I can burn through them. I just don't feel like I can do that way on
TradingView.
Right.
Just straight up trading. Yeah, I'm sure it's let's see. I have both of them. I use the one for a backup. I mean, probably a little excessive. Damn.
No, I mean stock charts is definitely better. You know, I just like it for the
I
like
can
the
send you charts, you know, like if I have chart folders, I can send it to you.
right.
And that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
I
used
just
to
like
do that a
being
lot.
able
Yeah.
to take trades from that, like from the exactly what I'm looking at. But I guess you could do the same thing with E-Trade or whatever.
And then do you guys, I mean, I have a chart pack on there. If you go to the dashboard, you may already follow them. And you go to public charts. Hold on. Right here, it's the third most followed on stock charts.
Yeah, I've seen it. I got it.
Yeah, if you follow that, you can just see the charts. I've been being a little more active on it and taking them out. I've been trying to revamp the way I've been doing it. I go around and around in my head on the best way to do it. I think I'm just going to mark up the ones I like the most, and the rest I'm just going to have on there.
Right. I mean, it's not easy with how many you follow, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to. And when it was just me and I'm not trying to publish it or write things or do things, I can, I'll mark up 100 of them.
Right.
I change it each day if it needs to. Most days they don't need to be changed once they're marked up,
Yeah.
You might have this one needs to, you got to slide this over, but it's not all of them every day. Yeah, this is playing out perfect.
I'm thinking
now,
so
5
too.
exponential across the 10. Oh, now we're turning. We almost got a crossover on the TSI, and then the MACD was going our way. See how fast that turned.
That's what I was just looking at that. What was that? 948. The big bullish candle, and it's $145. And I'm just not used to seeing a push up like that,
That's big. And then,
Yeah.
of course, you guys know you could add the indicator average true range down here, and that indicator will give you the average range of each bar. It'll track 14 bars, and it'll tell you how much money the average bar is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I just added that.
I used to use it. I don't so much use it anymore. Let's see. I think it's actually an indicator. Yeah, ATR, average true range. 14 days. So it says the average bar is $63. So yeah, 120, that's a very bullish bar. Or 140, whatever that one was. And then it got back above support,
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying I would have put it all back on right there. Because I was half in, and then I put it right back on. If I was trading the TQ, it don't matter what it is. And then now we're about to get a stage. So the TSI just crossed, confirming the stage 1. Everything's going straight. My target would be that 94,300 range. Maybe even earlier. If you're carrying a lot of weight, I might start taking it down even earlier.
Like what, 94, 250-ish?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
94, 200. Well, yeah, 94, 250. Because there's that little, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if it blasts through it, I wouldn't. Like sometimes if it just blasts through shit, I don't trim nothing. I wait.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it might keep going. You get 3 or 4 more candles before you trim. It's a big difference in the trading day. And then yet sometimes it'll turn immediately and you're like, damn, I knew I should have hit it.
Right.
No matter what you do, you knew you should have done something else.
That ain't the truth.
Yeah. And then when the stock goes up, you're like, I knew I should have bought more. You're always knowing you should have done the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, why didn't I add here? Yeah. Why didn't I? Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that game because it just never ends.
Well, see, that's what I tell myself. Like when I do my like journals at the end of the day, and it's like, okay, cool, you did X, Y, and Z, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All these were really good. The only thing is blank. you know, so I try to do it like that instead of just tearing yourself apart, because you can always figure out a way to tear yourself apart, you know. So, but yeah, my favorite thing is, shoot, it's been a few weeks, maybe a month ago, whenever you were like, when you're talking about trading, but you're like, man, fuck that trade, let's take another one, you know. And like,
Yeah.
I got such a kick out of that, but it's so true, you know. It's like, I just got my teeth kicked in, but let's do it again, you know.
Right. Fuck that trade.
Right.
That's hard, you know.
Yeah, well, the same thing with like the water heater in your house. It's so easy to be like, oh, ha ha ha, but it's such a good mindset, you know. It really is.
Yeah, because what's the alternative?
Right.
Cry
Right.
about it?
Right.
I mean,
Going to work and telling 15 different people the same story about how your water heater's broken. You know,
yeah, and then
or
whine about it.
or you took a trade this morning and lost money
Yeah, it
voluntarily.
doesn't help. You know,
We're running now. Look at that.
it's not always easy, you know, but and I'll have moments where I fucking like have a total meltdown, and then a little while, you know, in the midst of it, near the end, I'm like, you know what? Fuck that house.
Right.
I'm done crying about it. I got it all out.
Right. Right.
I have that going right now. I have a floor I need to. We're about to hit our first. Where's the RSI? See, I was close, man. Look, 68.
Yep.
And right in that, probably that 94, 250. I bet it hit. Boom! I'd sell some. Man.
That was a good one.
Man.
That was
And, you know, and if you think about it, so the RSI on the 7 period. So I use a 7 and a 14 RSI.
yeah.
I always keep them at the top. I mean, obviously you can have personal preference. It's just easy for me to, that way it's just RSI's up there.
Right. And your sevens for when you're trading, right? And then the 14
Right. I don't use it on
for
a
your
daily
like daily money flow.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
use it on a daily chart unless, like Louise talked about, taking some trades in a margin account.
Yeah.
I would probably do it in a margin account. I do that. Like I'll sell it sooner. Just because you are taking on more risk.
Right.
So that way you're in a constant state of taking some profits, you know, and I might have 7 or 10 or 12 trades going in a margin account. So taking some profits, you know, and remember, every dollar you make can buy you 3.
Right.
So you don't need to make as much on a trade. The other day I day traded the last hour. I made $58. Cool. You know, I was talking to Jess on the phone while we were doing it. But that'll buy $150 at CLM. I mean, I didn't put it in there. I just made it watching the charts, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's what I thought when I found the second income stream, because it's like, okay, cool, I can put my overtime money in there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, you park $4,000 in the margin account, you know, and you can buy what? A whole lot of money, you know?
Yep.
So, and then, right, you go to work and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, you know, and it's like, and then you look up and the income is just massive, you know? So, yeah, that's why I think
Get
people
my
are
weekly
sleeping on it.
$1,000. I thought that would be cool.
That's kind of exactly what I was thinking. Like, you know, use, because I have like, I want to say about
We're still
9
running.
in margin,
Okay.
and I wanted to use that, you know, to get some more money to add to the second income.
Yeah.
Look at the
Start
volume.
trading for price appreciation. Just keep it small, because just remember, you don't have to make much. You can just every day you can have more than one going. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We're ripping.
Boom, we're hitting. And the most important thing is the income. I'm
Right.
happy to lose on a trade or close it down to protect the cash flow, because the cash flow is going to get your money back.
Right.
You know, say you just have a shitty time trading. as long as you don't, fuck up the cash flow, you're going to come back.
Right. Well, and I feel like that's why people, especially people with a job and their expenses low, you know what I mean? Like you really can't lose.
Right.
I mean, like, and I obviously not everybody should.
Unless you start like closing out your dividend shit so that you can trade something to try to make it back. If you get into that spot, you got to stop, man. Like,
right.
And then it's probably just a matter of, you know what, just take smaller fucking trades, dude.
Yeah.
Until you start winning,
Mhm.
Well, and that's why I have my, outside of the trades to, to offset some of the erosion in the second income stream account. Like I don't do any trading outside of click and buy. You know what I mean? Like my day trading is over here. Like that's different, and like you said, the Roth IRAs over there, that's different.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's easy to separate, but I don't know. I think the wrong people see the buying power in the margin account. It's like, oh Lord, because I remember when I deposited like 2,500 or whatever, and I saw the margin buying power. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, and if you learn to day trade, during the day you get 4-to-1.
Right.
But you don't necessarily want 4-to-1. But if you got 10 grand in there, they're gonna let you day. Well, you got to have 25 before they let you day trade. But let's say you're at 25, you're probably making 2 grand or more in dividends.
Right.
In a way, you're kind of getting paid to trade.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain this to a guy. I was like, if your goal is to be a day trader, I said, I can show you a different way of doing it. And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, okay, we're going to do this dividend thing. And then during the day, you're going to day trade. But you can't lose more than your goddamn dividends.
Right.
And then what if you just lost half of your dividends? And he's like, well, I'm not going to lose. Yeah, you are. So
right.
What if you so if you're making 2 grand a month, you can only lose $1,000. And then you got to stop. So you can divide that up. You can figure out what that number is per day. You can make that trade small enough. And then as you win, that'll get bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, people jump in there and just run it to the max, take a fucking $400 loss. It's like, that's a lot on a $25,000 account. You do that in 2 days and you're down to like 22.
I think people are shocked at how fast they can lose money.
Yeah.
I know I was, I'm like, oh, good Lord,
Well, and now
and then you're leveraged on top of it.
Yeah. I've fallen asleep day trading, woke up down $900.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
$900 nap. And who are you going to get mad at?
No, you can't get mad at anybody but yourself.
Yeah. And then nobody wants to hear your whining ass. So like when you wake up complaining or you're pissed, nobody wants to hear that. Like you're the one sleeping during trading. Like, so you're not getting any sympathy. And then you can't tell your wife. She's going to be like, let me understand this. You fell asleep and lost $900 fucking dollars.
Right.
So yeah, you're not telling her. And you're not telling your best friend because he's going to laugh at you.
Yeah, you can't tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I did this just 2 months ago. I'm a professional trader. Like I've been killing it. I've been doing great. Now that didn't ruin my month, but it definitely made the month less better.
Right.
And I didn't tell anyone. I told Jess, But now she'll do this. She does this. Are you watching the market or is the market watching you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because that means because I'll be tired and I'll be like, well, I'm just going to do some small trading. I just can't help it. I like trading.
Right.
I've been known to fall asleep trading. Now that's obviously terrible, but that's how much I like trading.
Right.
Dude, I don't know how many times I've been driving it like New Orleans. My wife does all the driving so I can do shit. And I'll be like, I'll start trading. I'm like, well, I'm going to keep them small in case, because there's spots where we lose internet.
Yeah.
I never do that. And then every trip, I'm in a panic at some point. And she's like, if you're going to say it's about you taking a trade, I'm going to pull the car over and kick you out. Because she knows I don't have to. I could just not do it.
Right.
And maybe not ruin the trip.
Not ruin the trip.
That's an option, right?
Right.
Because I'm freaking out about a trade.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't do that. I'm going to run the trip.
No, I'm mentally prepared to be hurt again. Let's do it.
Yeah. And so now it's just like, and so I'll tell you what helped my trading though. One time I was listening to an interview with Warren Buffett, who doesn't trade, right?
Right.
And they asked him, what do you do when you really mess up? I mean, when you got it wrong and you lost money, and he's made some mistakes. He said, I just write a check, forget about it. I was like, he goes, no, I just write a check. I send the money over, and it's the last fucking time I think about it. And I was like, okay, cool. I like that idea. So I tried to do it. Every day I would have a losing day. If it was more than $100, I sent the money over, man.
Right.
What happens is your account doesn't ever lose all the money, and so you get to keep trading.
We just hit the 200 on the 1 minute.
I was just watching that. So now we're not quite at that RSI, but we're right there. Boom. Yeah, we take it down, man. So I would probably be down to about half of the trade right now. And if I was on a daily chart, the smaller my account, the more I would sell.
Right.
The bigger your account, the more you can be flexible. Because you have other monies to take other trades. But if you have a small account, you probably don't have a lot of money to take other trades.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would take down up as much as half. Day trading, I'd take half down here. Especially after this shit here.
It's a hell of a run.
And if you look over here, we got this sticky area.
I mean, that's a $524 swing.
Yeah, so if we're 50x, I don't know how that works out because they block it in my area. I don't need to be doing that, to be honest. Right now, I have futures contracts going, and I'm using a 1 hour chart,
Right.
And
those are through Coinbase?
The same. The cool thing about this is, like when Jess was first working with me, she'd come to the house and we would just trade this for, days.
Yeah.
I just leave it on for days. Like if we're up, we're looking at it. And then I'm constantly watching the 5 minute, and what happens is it's swing trading and all that just becomes ridiculous. Like it's easy.
Right.
You start realizing, man, I could have 50 swing trades after you trade on this short time frame.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you use this indicator. I don't talk about it in my books or anywhere. It's called the money flow indicator. It's on stock charts. I don't know if it's very similar to the RSI. It's the MIF. Now,
MIF.
I don't
MFI.
Yeah, or what did I say? MIF.
Yeah, MIF.
Yeah,
I have it. I saw you had it on
Index.
Yeah, I don't talk much about it, but if you can just go look at it yourself. When it hits one extreme to another, that's a completed move, man. Like, and that's kind of how I look at it. Completed move, completed move, completed move. And when it gets extreme, your bottom is coming, And when it goes the other way, your top is coming.
Okay.
Hey, what's the Gerald? What's the input on that? 14.
Yeah, I'm using right out of the box, and I know the guy. I met the guy that created it.
Or the length? The default's 14.
Most things are 14.
Okay.
I pretty much do everything the box setting, except for the RSI dropping it down a little.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And then if it doesn't work across the board, I don't even bother with it, man.
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at.
Because if it doesn't work on gold and Bitcoin and bonds, I don't have time to be having different indicators on different fucking things.
Right.
Now I know people that trade like that, and I look for different things. Like the second income strategy I've been working on for about 2 years, not 2 years, ever since Tesla came out. I was doing this for a different fund. It was called CEFL, and it was a 2X of the YYY. The YYY is a fund of funds. I know this sounds crazy. There are 30 closed-end funds inside of the YYY.
Oh, really?
That's what it is. Okay. It's 30 funds inside a fund. And somehow that gives, obviously that gives you a little diversity, right?
Right.
Well, they had a 2x to that. And so I was running a money flow thing on that. And I would borrow money on top of that. So the dividends were like 30 to 40%.
Oh, shit.
Anyone I would show this to would laugh at me. All right, now day trading, I'd be out right here. The reason I trade bar by bar when I day trade. And if you're trying to make the most money on a swing trade, if I was trading in margin, I might even consider that. Because we had a red candle. The moment that one went under this one,
yeah,
bears, I'm out. Day trade, I'm out. And unless it changes the direction, I don't want to write it down, right?
Right. And
it's probably going to come right into support. Previous resistance becomes support. So I'm just betting this thing comes in at 94.350. Now, maybe that's so close to the 200, it kind of holds it here.
I was going to say.
If it does, the first black above this, I'm back in.
Okay.
So that's how close I'd be watching it,
Yeah.
But I'd really like to see this work off. I'd love to see these come underneath the 50. That's an ideal setup, but it may or may not do that.
Right.
Let me now, Luis, have you ever actually day traded?
I did in the past. Okay. Not too successful at it.
Yeah, no, it's very.
That's why. Yeah, that's why. When I saw your program, definitely, wanted to learn and that's what I'm doing.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Like right here, I'd be real patient. I'd just be kind of watching this, but I would be out of it.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm back in. You see that the difference there? The moment you see that where this,
the black one.
We're above the other one, right? So we had pull back, boom, we got above. So I would be in, and then my stop would be right around in here.
Okay.
But you see how all this shit's coming together? This is actually kind of unusual. The 10, the 5, the 10, the 200, it's all right here, dude. That's a crazy setup. You don't normally see it like that.
Yeah.
But I would be back in just because of the strength of the bounce. 1, 2, 3, and then we bounced. And if it gets above the high of that third candle, that, the pullback there, I'm back in. If we're day trading. And you can trade that tight on a daily chart. Just most people don't. I mean, man, that was beautiful too. I don't know if you saw that.
Was a good one.
Typical a pullback in a nice uptrend is going to be what, 3 to 5 candles. We know that.
Right.
So when I got the 1, 2, and then there, and it stopped, the next candle that gets above one of the pullbacks, like it goes above it, I will take a shot at getting right back in, and that using that third pullback candle as my anchor point.
Right.
And then, so, you might be in and out quick, or you might, boom, catch a whole nother run. I mean, but you can't wait on a full stage 1 setup. And I mean, you'll never get back in.
Well, and that's what I've kind of come to realize too. Sometimes you just got to get in.
Yeah. So you got to, especially if you're trading, if we're trading now, buy and hold is a different game. Would I be adding, let's say this is a daily chart. Would I be buying up here on a buy and hold account? I don't think so, man. I would have done all my buying back here,
right.
here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now it's just doing what I bought it for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I would be off looking at something else. That's how I do buy and hold. Once they're running, I'm not adding to them. I'm probably not even talking about them. Now, if something's running like this as a day trader or a very short-term trader, you might go pull it up and go, hey, let's get on the bandwagon. And you can do that. I don't. I just typically trade the TQQ. I mean, I just don't have time anymore to like follow all the stock news. What's the most, as far as momentum trading?
Right.
That's what I'm sure you've seen that guy. What's his name? Goddamn, Warrior Trading.
Warrior. Oh,
He's real nice. Nice sounding guy. He's nice.
I'm sure I've seen.
He's so nice.
Sometimes
I don't like him because I'm not nice like that. And I feel bad for not being. Let me see. Warrior Trading. Ross Cameron.
Ross Cameron.
You guys
The
haven't seen
name
him?
sounds super familiar.
He runs Warrior Trading. This is a motherfucking day trader too, man. That's what they do. That's it.
Yeah, the redheaded guy, right?
Yeah, there's no fucking dividends. There's none of that. We're day trading to the extreme. And every day they're running scans and they're looking at what stock are we day trading fucking today. And they got like 15, 20 monitors. They're waiting for that fucker to break out. And that is the stock we're day trading. Let's go. Cocaine fueled fucking something. I can't do that, man. Like I gotta slow it down a little bit.
Oh my God.
Do that, but you got to be about that game every day. You know, you can't do that and have babies and a wife and fucking you're doing buy and hold. You got dividend. You're not going to be able to do all that.
Right.
He never talks dividends. They are not doing any dividends. They're trying to make money trading.
We're fucking trading.
We're trading, and that's I want to build that. That's one of the things I want to do is I want to do MFG Capital. And
yeah, that would be sick.
MFG Capital trades money, and then there's trading, which is what trading my money, the Discord, we're trading, blah, blah, blah. And then publishing where we're doing things. It is hard to find a trader. There was a lady that I was training to be a trader. Like Jess writes for me, MFG Publishing. We're putting out content. We're doing research, that kind of shit. It's hard to be a writer and do that. And then also day trade. Like it's very difficult, if you're studying dividends, if you're doing the second income stream and that's your jam, you don't give a fuck about day trading.
Right.
You don't care that CRM is $8. You don't care. It has nothing to do with you. And you really do need to kind of hone into what is your thing. And then once you have that mastered, you can add other shit,
Yeah.
So like if I was doing which right now, which is what I'm doing, my entire focus has been on it recently. So all my trading is inside of that account. I day trade over the top of the second income stream. I don't advocate everyone do that until you have some proficiency. I mean, I made Jess wait a year. She had to paper trade for a year. Yeah. I made it a year just thinking she quit, but she kept doing it. So that's who you want to trade with you,
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll go a month and they're already cheating. They're doing something else. They're doing fucking Forex or buying. I mean, they cannot stay focused on one thing.
Right.
There's so much power in that. If you look at all the real estate I bought, it's all almost literally all 2-bedroom, 1-bath. That is, if that is all you focus on, that's what you're going to get. But if you all of a sudden you stop and go, what about trailers? Now you just slowed your roll. Now you're learning something new. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a time for that, after you've mastered this. I mean, I did that. I didn't go to Airbnb till I had like 15, 16 houses, man. I got guys buying one house. Now they're doing Airbnb and then they're fucking doing whatever. And it's like, hey, man, come on, bring it in. That's the beautiful thing about the second income stream, though, is a lot of all these skills come into one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I started looking at it, I knew I was going to be selling 15 houses. You got to look at what can I do right now with what I have, with where I am, with what I can do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I sell this house, I'm going to get money. I can't let people spend it, right?
Right.
Like we got to get it back to work. But my property manager doesn't want to manage properties. Okay. So, and that's just I don't think that'll be forever, but that's the case right now. Okay. We got to make money on this money. I can't just leave it in a fucking checking account. I know what happens. It'll get spent.
Right.
I got to get rid of it. And so I started looking at, and I kind of stopped doing some of this stuff because of that. See, we're still just running because of, I didn't finish that story. I was doing it on CFL. COVID happened. Well, in the fucking, I didn't know. I mean, I knew this, but I didn't think about it. In the fucking perspective, it says if the fund hits $5, they close it. So the YYY was at like $20. COVID happens. That motherfucker falls to like $8. The CFL is at 2x. It said $20, 2x. It doesn't go to $8. It goes to $4.
Right.
They close it. But I'm buying like $150,000 worth at a time. But here's the thing. Whenever I'd get a stage 4, like right now we're running, right? So I would just let it run. When we get a stage 4, I would sell half. But I would sell into strength. So right now I'd be selling shares, right? And then I know we're going to go stage 4 at some point. When we go stage 3, cool. I don't need to do anything. Once we go 4, I cut it, make sure I'm in half. I would write it down, but I got half the money. So I got like 75,000 in cash, but the dividends are 2x. So even at half position, it was like a full position in the YYY, right?
Right.
I'm making like $2-3 grand a month in dividends. I'm writing about this. I'm trying to tell people. And I'm like, yeah, man, follow money flow. Stage 1, load it up. Plus, I've collected dividends. I get more shares than I originally had. We write it up. I get depreciate. And I was killing it, dude. I mean, killing it. So every time I'm putting money in there. And that's what's on the cover of the money flow. Right there. If you look on the cover, it says CEFL. That fund does not exist anymore. So COVID, total out of the blue, black fucking swan, boom, blows the fund out.
I think we're going to run to 95,000.
Yeah, we're running.
Yeah.
But that's my fear with yield max, dude. Like, I don't know what blows it out. So like this, where it's running, this is beautiful. Let's back it up. So here's the 5-minute. I mean, where's the next sticky area? Like,
I mean, we're at it right now, but on the 1 minute, the only other thing I see is like at 95, 187.
I mean, we actually may be blowing through that last one.
Yeah.
If my thing will work.
If this 1 minute flips bullish like it is right now, yeah, I think we see 95, 200.
Yep, 95. You see why he said that, Luis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to hijack. I just
no. You're saying the right thing. This thing is fucking up.
Yeah, GP, you're talking, and I'm just watching it run. I'm like, oh my god.
No, I'm watching it.
Run.
I see it. This thing is fucking with me, man. What is going on? My mouse is. Stock charts is not perfect when you combine the mouse, being online, inside of a browser. For some reason, it starts, sometimes it gets a little fucking hanky. And there's nothing like being on a live and you can't get your mouse to work.
Oh, fuck.
Right. You're trying to talk and you're like, like a fucking retard. And you're trying to like come away with it cool. It just doesn't work. There you go. I used to get a lot of hecklers. It's funny. I don't get as many anymore. I used to get a lot of hecklers. Oh, he can't even work a mouse. I never block anybody, though. I don't really care. I mean, I care. I don't want people making fun of me, but, see, it went up too high. I mean, what are you going to do, right? Sometimes they're friends of mine just fucking with me and I misread it. I used to go crazy, man. I start yelling at people. Jess and them loved it until I'm target them. That's how that shit goes. Everybody loves it until you're mad at them. Then it's
Right.
not cool.
Right. Until you're on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, then it's not funny, man. And that's how you lose friends.
Right.
I think it's stopping.
Yeah, it
And
looks
I
like
can see on the MFI, it went up to 80. So
it made it to 94,800. Is that
yeah,
what you're saying?
94, 825 some.
Yeah, okay. What are you watching it on TradeView?
No. Right now I'm watching it on stock charts.
Man, yours is ahead of mine.
Yeah, that was a $900 move since we started this live. That's crazy.
Right. So you can see if you're leveraged. Like I'm actually in it right now on futures contracts, but I'm using the hour. Let me see what's up.
And you do your futures on Coinbase, right?
Coinbase, yes, sir.
All right, cool. Yeah, we broke below the 5.
See, and I'm actually underwater on mine because I got in apparently above that. I think I got in over here on this one. It pulled back and I tried to get in on this one. And then we dumped again. I should have added some contracts down here. That's what I would call position trading. Like position trading means you're not getting stopped out. You know?
Right.
You're just waiting for stage ones. Like you would add here, you would add here. You're not going to add on the run-ups. You're going to add on the stage ones.
Right.
I mean, I did that with Uber I've been doing that for 4 years now. I have a very large position in Uber. You know, every time it goes to 80, I do think about selling some because I'm up big time. But then I think about Amazon or Netflix or Facebook, and I think, when was a good time to get out? Or Bitcoin. If you're position trading, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
this is where it gets weird. Like sometimes I teach, like I was telling Jess that once I taught her to trade short, to be a short seller. Some people have a very hard time with the short side of the game. Once you get it where you get it, that's all you think about, dude. You start shorting the shit out of everything. Short it. All you're thinking about is everything's going down. And it's like, that's not why I showed you that.
Right. Hey, red candle.
Everything's not going down. But once you get it, it comes so fast. The short money is so fast.
We're back above the 5 again.
And if you'll watch it, it'll take forever to go up, and then it just down. And if you catch it, you make a bunch of money fast. So one of my rules, if I trade the short side, as soon as I'm in some money, man, I start taking it down. Because it doesn't usually last long. But I would even consider this kind of a short, right? That's the thing about being a short seller too, is like, okay, when are you going to short? You're going to short bull runs? You're going to wait for it to get up and then call the top? Is that what you're doing?
Seems like a tricky game to play.
It's tricky. And sometimes you can pull it off, but it's very difficult to be long and short, because what'll happen is you'll get out of your long, get into your short, and then it doesn't go short and it goes long, right?
Right.
And now you're eating it on both ends. And so you get out and you get out and get long, and then it goes short, and you're just like, oh my God. Right now you're all fucked up, dude. All you had to do was pick a side.
And you lost money on both of them.
Right. I've had days, because even at my level, and I know this, I will still sometimes, I got it. And some days I've had it where, I've had it like where you can ask Jesse at the house, it's like, God damn, are you like a savant or something? Like you have a magic, because I'm like, this is the bottom. I'm in, all in.
Right.
And what I'm doing is I'm watching the 1 hour or the 30-minute, and they're coming into a zone. And the moment that 1 minute stops,
right,
I'm immediately getting long, and they're not seeing that higher zone.
Right.
How do you teach that? I don't know, man. I don't know. But they're also usually not trading to that level. But if it's just us there and that's all we're doing, that would be different.
Right.
Which that was probably what you were thinking we were going to do when you came to my house, huh?
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I
But
don't normally do that. That's not normally what I do. I don't usually do, unless that's the thing.
I mean, I still had a hell of a time. So
Yeah,
I have
normally,
no
I'm
complaints.
just trying. Everybody needs something different, man.
Right.
I know I did at different ages. Like I'm 54. How old are you, Luis?
46.
46. And you're what? Even you're 27?
Yeah, 27.
Yeah. And everybody's at a different place, needs something different.
Right.
You get a young cat, he's 22, man, he ain't thinking about no passive income. He's trying to make money.
Right.
And if you don't help him with that, you're going to lose him.
Yeah.
And so I try to scratch that itch and try to keep him so that I can get him realizing, man, if we get you making that passive now, come on, man, by the time you're 30, you got to try to somehow convince him to do the right thing, but it's his idea.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
We don't see it at that age.
Yeah. You got to go slow. And everybody responds differently. And, I don't know. I feel like I have an ability to read that. Sometimes you can get it wrong.
So now it's going down.
It was cool.
Now, day trading, as long as it's above, honestly, in day trading, if it's above the 5 here and I'm winning that day, I'll give this some room. I mean, we're still above the 5 exponential here. We've had a huge run, right?
Yeah.
It only makes sense that you get a couple red candles. As long as they're above the 5, I'll give it room. But normally, let's say it's riding the 5. As soon as it breaks below this candle, if I'm trading tight, I'm out. I close it. Boom, take my money because we made money.
Right.
But if we're winning or I'm feeling a little loose, you don't have to close the whole thing. You can just take down half. And then if it holds here, I'll put it right back on.
That's going down. Down.
Right. And once we go now, that's pretty negative if you look at it. It broke here. That's called bar by bar. Bar by bar would have kept you in. Boom, 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 out. That's a nice run, right? That leg right there. I mean, you make a living on that. But now here's what I was telling when you left, Ethan. I was telling him all this shit is coming together at the 200.
Yeah. That's
not normal. Like for everything to be kind of coming together, crossing over, that's chaos. That's different strategies and computer systems are like freaking out right now. It's going to hold that 200. Look at it. Held it here, here, here.
What time frame is that?
Just a 1 minute. Should be.
The 1 minute. Okay.
Oh shit. No, I'm on the 5 minute. My bad.
Yeah.
I was on the 5 minute.
Now, no. I thought I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm like, why does mine look so different?
No. You're right. That's 5 minutes.
No, so that freaked me out for a minute. All right, cool.
Right. So we'd have been out right in here. You got to be out. I mean, this is stage 3 as obvious as can be. But notice these little bars here.
I can just see your RSIs at the top.
Oh, yeah.
My bad. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
You see it now.
Yeah.
You see how small these bars are?
Yeah.
They're all inside bars. They're inside of this one. That usually means you're going to have a continued bullish move because they're so tiny, and it did try it. If you see it here, it did try it.
I have a question too, though. Could you also see that latest little top? Could you technically call that a double top?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it double. I would call it.
You know what I mean? Like a little.
It rejected going higher. Like right in here, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it rejected moving higher. You could call it a double top. I mean,
and I don't say that to get, balls deep in the chart patterns and stuff, but I just feel like it's little stuff like that
Yeah.
hindsight that it's like, oh, cool, but like I also see what you're saying where it could have just easily continued higher.
Well, you remember what I said about getting back in the box?
Yeah.
This is the opposite. It's back in the box the bearish way.
Right.
So it broke out, right?
Yeah.
Right back in, confirming that's the 3. It's over.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you take that same concept down here, remember, you see it broke the box, came back in.
Yeah.
That's bullish. We went the other way. It did the exact same thing here.
Okay, cool. Just inverse.
If you can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No, absolutely.
Once these RSIs all went green, I'm assuming stage 3. So I'm looking not for the anchor point. I'm looking for the apex point, meaning the highest bar. And we got it right here, and then it was like pull back. But these were all inside. Those insides, when you get 2, 3, 4, that tells me it's going higher because nobody's really selling much,
Right, right.
It tried, and then when it reversed, boom, out. Hey, baby. Don't eat it all. My wife came in and stole all the candy. That was a gift. Yeah, man, that was beautiful. And that's exactly how I would interpret that. This was the 3. We tried to break out as soon as it didn't, and it got below the 5. I'm out, man. If I'm day trading. Because if it's going to set up and hold, I'm going to expect what? This RSI to go below 50 to hold. And now we're kind of looks like we're doing that, man. So now we got an anchor point right here. Stop there before. Ever so small, though. Look, 1 red bar, black, boom, boom. I'd be right back in. Let's put a thing on the anchor. We didn't get 4 bars, but we're already on a bullish move,
And then would you, question, would you trim some at that most recent high, or are you just going to let it run?
I probably would. That's pretty high from here.
Right.
Well,
see, and that's I'm used to trading like in the NASDAQ, right? That might be 100-point move.
Right. That's a pretty, I bet that triggers the RSI.
Okay, cool. I was about to say, because in Bitcoin you look and it's like $300 or something crazy. It's like, oh, good Lord. You know what I mean?
You see why it's hard to day trade it with pure money because,
right.
I mean, you're not going to, who's going to put 900 or 94,000 to make $300? I mean, I would, but you really want to be leveraged. That's what futures contracts do, right? Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect setup now. Anchor, we got 1 bar, 2 bar, 3. Let's make this bigger. But let's check the 5-minute real quick.
So would you take off
down, but we're on the bullish side, right?
Yeah. So would you take off half at that high, or just and then let the rest of it run?
Yeah, I might even take less than that. If it tags
less.
that, it's obviously wanting to run.
Maybe do like a quarter.
Yeah, it would depend on the day. If we've been losing, I would take more.
Right.
If we've been winning, it's like playing blackjack. If the dealer's just giving you money.
Well, and I also too, like if I just caught that big run that we just watched, right, I might
start taking it down, doing it smaller.
Yeah, or take a portion of what I just made. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Say that was
because you want to keep
$200 trade. I might put 50 on this one. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So, because in the past, right, like in the past, I'd make a little bit of money and I'd put all of it on the trade. Well, then I'd lose all of it and then some. And then
we definitely don't want to do
dumbass. That. You could have walked away with some money, but now.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that if we can avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's ever since I've, stumbled upon you, and like one of the things that I really like is just the discipline you teach as well, that I don't think a lot of people, I don't know. I haven't got that as much from,
right,
anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Man, it's looking better and better.
Yeah, it is.
Man.
In this kind of cases, can you put like a limit sell? Is that something that you would do? Like,
yeah, and I a lot of times I'll do that when I'm day trading. I'll go ahead and put a limit order for 94.80, 94 or 800 here. I might even bring it in lower. because it may pop in one bar and hit it. And then if you were looking over here, literally that fast, you missed it. That happens a lot when you're trading the TQ.
Mhm.
It could literally shoot up to here and only be there for, you don't even have time to hit the button.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
with a
and
limit
that's-
order, you lock it in. You just got to remember, you got to take that limit order off if you're going to try to bail on the trade. Now,
Yeah.
on a day chart, you could literally put one cancels the other, set your target here, your stop loss here, whichever one's hit first, you're out.
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it, so that I know no
Yeah.
matter what, I'm covered.
Yeah,
You know,
you
if
go
I
to
can't,
work.
if I can't be present to watch it.
Right. And you could do that. You could have an order. Here's my stop. Here's my target.
I mean, really, you could argue that'd be the only way to do it. You know, if you can't watch
If
it.
you're not going to be there, absolutely. You could also do a
Yeah.
trailing. Oh, look at that. Look what just happened.
Yeah.
Damn. You could have a trailing stop too. Like once you're in the money and you got to go, you can do a trailing stop and it's either per cent or per percentage. And it won't ever go backwards. Boom, we'd be stopped out. I'd probably just sell half though.
Yeah, but you can set a limit like Ethan was saying, like, hey, I want to sell maybe, I don't know, 30% and let the rest run. Can you set a limit on a percentage?
And you couldn't do one cancels the other. Or I guess you could. You could do it for less. You could do your stop for the full position. You could do your limit for less. Yeah, you could do that.
I feel like that would work for basically everything but Bitcoin. Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
Just because of the share size. Like normally, like
Yeah.
if you did a futures contract, right, and say you had
Yeah.
2 contracts, well,
Yeah.
you could set, cool, I'm going to sell one of those contracts here.
Right.
And then let the other, or with shares or whatever. But
Yeah.
like for the sake of Bitcoin, like you were saying, it's such a big, price
Yeah.
associated with it that it's just,
Yeah.
you know.
You could do a stop where you're out of all on the limit, you're out of half.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you're going to check back in a little while and then you could adjust it. I mean, and every platform has their own little, damn, this got ugly fast.
Yeah.
So I'd probably, we got to close it out, man.
Well, but in the grand scheme of things, that was a $950 move that we just watched.
And what's funny though, that 5 minute, remember I tell you we were trading against the trend?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. If you trade against the trend, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trend is so, I'll only take half the size when I'm trading against the trend. But you can make a lot of money trading against it. So that's the lure, because before it turns, you would have caught a run.
Right.
It takes a bunch of 1 minutes to turn the 5 minute. And if you catch them, that just takes time being a trader. Just like, when should I be bigger? When should I be less? What you don't want to do is when you're losing, I got to bet more to get my goddamn money back. That's the trader's fallacy.
Right. That's a good way to self-destruct.
And that is my natural instinct. If I'm losing,
me too.
bet bigger. Best thing I can do now is bet bigger.
Hey,
I've lost the last 12 hands. Can't lose number 13.
And then you lose, right? And it's like, why am I like this?
Yeah, then you're having that conversation with yourself, going, hey, can I get another drink? While you're debating, while you're a degenerate. That has been my and so I know my own instinct on that, man. I gotta you just gotta have no shame in betting small.
Yeah.
The other thing too, what really helped me was trading in the zone by he's dead now, Mark Douglas. What he really gets across to you is it's fucking random. It doesn't know you and it doesn't give a shit about you. So any emotion you're feeling, it's not. So you got to somehow detach yourself from any emotion and just realize that every roll, every day, every tick is just the randomness of markets. And you couldn't know.
Right.
So to beat yourself up, oh, I knew that. You didn't know that. You only know that because you're looking at it in the past.
Right.
And it'll be okay with that. Like, basically be okay with losing.
Well, and two, you're choosing to be here.
Right. Nobody asked you to play.
Yeah, you
And,
know.
and the truth is you don't know. And so all
Right.
you can do is follow some sort of strategy that keeps you from self-destructing. And when the winds happen, just let it run.
Right.
The worst is to get out when it just keeps going straight up.
Well, and I think once again, that's what's so cool about your program, right? Because it's like, cool, you got the second income stream, right? You got income there. Well,
Right.
then you got your B&B trades, your swing trades, you know, all that. And then you have day trading over the top, right? So it's like you can be getting your teeth kicked in
Right.
on your day trades, right? But still be winning in 50 other avenues of your portfolio. So
There's days where, seriously, I was talking about this earlier. I was up like $350. I'm like, yeah, like we're all excited. And then I go look at my buy and hold. It says down 14,000.
Right, right.
I'm like, did we miss something? And it's like, oh yeah, we've been short all day.
Right.
And it's like, I'm so excited about that little win that I'm not even
Right.
paying it. The buy and hold don't even matter. We're just headed down.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, I'm all excited about $300. And then look at 14,000 down. It's like, okay. We obviously missed something today.
Right, exactly.
That's funny, man. Let's look at the daily. This is starting to put in an anchor point right where it stopped before, man. Look at that shit. Let's see that. Let me see. That's where I'd expect it to stop.
Yeah, it stops right at the 20 on the 5 minute.
You know, look at that. It stopped right there before, right in that little box zone. The MACD's turning. This is just on the 1 minute. And that, remember I was telling you about the money flow?
Yeah.
Man, that thing's pretty goddamn accurate. It's now we just need to see a little sideways on the TSI. But the problem is that the big MACD never went extreme. Uh-oh. So we're above the 5. 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar. Let's check the 5 minute. I know it's pointed down.
I tell you what, I've been flirting with the 2 minute recently. I really like it. It's like a little hybrid between the 1 and the 5.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have 1, 3, 5.
And then like I'll even parlay that in with like the 15 or the 30 or the 1 hour. And then it's like, I don't know, constantly rotating between them, you know?
Man.
Oh yeah, I think we're running.
I'd be in right now.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot at it.
And the stop would be, you know, I mean, probably half at the 94400. And then I'd make the rest kind of, you know, get down a little bit. I like that taking the first hit on half. Because a lot of times, you know that it turns right around. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm in.
Do you ever have
Everything's
that?
showing it's going up again.
Yeah. Do you ever have, I know this is dumb as fuck. I'll have this feeling that if I don't look, it'll work better than if I look. That is so stupid. But even as a grown man, I will be like, if I don't look, somehow that's going to cause the goddamn stock market to go up. I mean, if I only had powers like that, right?
Yeah. See, I do that. I do that with my stop loss. Though I'm like, I dare this motherfucker to hit my stop loss.
Sometimes I'll be like, fuck it, I'm gonna take it off. I don't dare you to go. Like I do that, and it's like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
You know, I don't. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll start getting mad. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll go to the bathroom, and I know I have this trade open. I don't take my iPad with me, and I just go in there, and then I just bullshit for a minute. And I have this feeling that when I come back, that's somehow going to make it better.
No,
that is nonsense, you know? And yet we do
Absolutely.
it. We play these games, you know.
This is the game we play.
And it's okay. I think it's okay as long as it's like can't destroy you. You know, like you obviously don't want to do that with like 10,000 shares and walk away.
Right.
I will tell you this though, the bigger the share count, it's easier to trade with multiple people. Like if let's say we're running 10,000 shares on the TQ. Come on, man. 10,000? Every tick is $100.
Right.
So if it runs $10, dude, that's a lot of money. I mean, if it runs $1, it's 10 grand.
Right.
So it's like, I got to go to the bathroom. You got 2 or 3 people there. Like you're you want people when you're trading that kind of money.
Right.
I do. Cause sometimes I'll be like, cause then you could go and watch. And I was trying to do this in New Orleans. I was trying to train someone to help me trade bigger money. Cause then you could go watch, say the 30-minute, 1 hour. You're keeping an eye on that for me. I'm watching the 1 minute. So-and-so's over here kind of keeping an eye on news feed, Twitter, fucking anything the Fed might say, things like that. Because you can't watch all this shit yourself. It's impossible.
Right.
And that kind of money, you might want to know if somebody's tweeting.
When you got your risk manager over there.
Yeah. And I've been trying to build that out. And it can be stressful, but you gotta realize, hey, we're not stressing on this. This is just what we do. This is just the number on the screen.
Right.
You can't get freaked out because it's down 6 or up 16. We just trade it.
Well, that's like that quote from Margin Call. And the guy's like, it's just money. It's pieces of paper so that we don't have to kill ourselves to get something to eat.
That's all it is, man. You know, you got to be able to think like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, you want them to show up and they're into it and they, you know.
Right.
It's hard, man. I had a girl I was training, this buddy of mine's girl, and she really had an aptitude for it, and she had done it before and quit. And then just like the littlest things, like life, like they got to get tires on a car. Somehow you can't do that after trading, you know?
Life got in the way.
Life. That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, I have the same fucking problems, man. I got 17 houses. You don't think I have problems?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I wake up, there's a goddamn problem. But the next 6.5 hours, I'm busy. I'm sorry.
Right. We're going to trade.
Right.
We're going to trade stocks and deal with tires later.
Right. Or I have a wife. Like she can call them.
Right.
You know, and it's like one time, like my buddy had to go to the doctor and he wanted her to go with her or with him. And I'm like, are you serious right now? And it's like, okay, you guys can't work with me.
Right.
Because 1, I'm fixing to call you a little bitch. 2, she doesn't need to be. Well, you saw we were having dinner and we got called. And it's like, I can't do this, man.
Right.
I tried. This is perfect setup here.
Yeah, I think we're going to rip.
The MACD is crossing over right now. So at this point, would we?
What was it? You said the what?
The MACD.
AMCD. Okay. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. It's confirming it, right? I mean, everything is crossing over. Yeah.
Yeah, we're above the 20 now.
You see how powerful this money flow indicator is? But if you notice, it's an 80-20. So it's kind of like the RSI, but it makes it go even more extreme, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the moves tend to be, I used to call it a structured move. Some people call it a leg, you know, legs. I used to listen to this guy from Tiger Financial, I think they called it. He called it an ABC move. And it would be like, okay, that's a leg, you know? It's a leg up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for them, it would be like A, B, C, D. I mean, I don't know. They had this weird ass thing. And I'm just like, well, no, it's stage 1, dude. Like,
isn't that similar to what the fuck do they call that?
And I make up words like anchors and apex points. That shit I made up.
But isn't that ABCD? That's like the Elliott wave or whatever.
It ties into Elliott wave, and I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been down this wormhole.
No, like I just heard of it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, you want to blow your fucking mind? Look at GAN fans.
Oh God.
So when I was first doing this shit, there was no internet, man. So I'm like reading shit in the back of, I'd read Stock and Commodities magazine, and it would be like, this is a trading technique they don't want you to know about. I'm like, oh yeah. Like they're going to advertise that in the back of a magazine. Right?
Right.
But I order it. I have to.
Right.
And I get it, man. And next time we meet up, Ethan, I'm going to show you some of these books I got. I paid $5,000 for a book called The Atom Theory.
The Atom Theory?
The Atom Theory, The Order to the Markets. And it was by the guy that created RSI and ADMX and parabolic. He created almost everything except the MACD. So when he came out with a book that was called The Atom Theory to the Markets, fuck, dude, I want in.
This is what's his name? Wallace J. Wilder.
And it was like when he was an older man, dude. He's like late 70s. He writes this book, man. I think it was a cash grab. Like he just made this shit up to get money. It was $5,000. I have it at the house. I have it here, man. It's complete fucking nonsense.
He probably sold a bunch of them, didn't he?
It was complete fucking nonsense. I'm like, bro, you created the RSI. Like, I'm thinking you're coming with some shit.
Right.
You know what it was? You take tracing paper. No bullshit. And you take the chart, because we used to get charts printed then. There's no internet. So every week I would get a chart book. I paid to have it mailed to my house. You'd pick the 50 stocks, and it would have like 4 indicators, and it was in a booklet. And I paid a shit ton of money. And I would take a ruler and I would fucking draw on it, and then I started printing them out on my own. And it would take like 40 minutes to download all the charts after work. Mm-hmm. And he would take the chart and you would lay tracing paper over it. So you would trace it and then you would flip it upside down. And that's where the market was going.
Just like that.
Just like that, dude. $5,000. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's crazy, huh?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not an orgasm that I was thinking. It's not a finale. It's not it's tracing paper, and we flipped it upside down, bro. Like,
right.
I feel like I could have thought of that, but I didn't. So it's like, so then you don't want to feel like a fool. So you're like, okay, maybe so. But then he added this full moon thing. So, okay, you take the full moon, you plot it on the S&P. I kid you not, man. And that's when I was like, okay, bro. I got to stop. I just bought a book called The Atom Theory, and I'm placing moon cycles on charts. So that's how desperate I was.
So you were balls deep in the rabbit hole.
Man, I was so deep that I was trying to justify it. I'm like, yeah, moon cycles make sense. I mean, people farm by moon cycles forever. Like the pagans use moons, right? Like, I'm just babbling about how moon cycles could be a good thing.
You already paid all this money. You want to make it work.
If you buy a new bass boat, you buy new fishing poles. I mean,
right.
The old ones don't work anymore, right?
Right.
Man, but you know what? And to this, not to, I mean, there were years after that, I would pull it out and go, maybe I didn't understand. Like, and I would fuck with it.
Right.
Yeah. So what I learned is your heroes could let you down.
My man said the moon cycle.
That's what I learned. People are just people, man.
There was a big sell-off right now.
Yeah, I'm watching that. I wouldn't let that spike get me, but I don't use hard stops. But if you did, you would have got stopped out. But let's say you did get stopped out, like you placed the stop, I would get right back in here. I would, just giving it a second, because that a lot of times when you now something I'll do, I know this sounds stupid. This bar here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'll count it back to the anchor. I don't know if you were on that live with me. That's a little thing I do. Whenever you get a weird bar, I count it back to the, you can pick a point, but I always count it back to the anchor. You can count it back to whatever. sometimes you'll see algorithmic trading, and every 14th or 15th bar, there'll be massive selling. Well, on the other side, they're buying like calls, options, or they're doing something else, right? And so if the computer can pick out there's not a lot of volume and they can push price down very easily, they'll start fucking with that. They'll start trying to knock it out and immediately get long on another side, you know? They don't lose money doing it. Now, that's all conspiracy theory, but we were on a live and I was doing that. And dude, I kid you not, every 16th bar it happened. It went for like a fucking hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would you do? Would you get out here if you were day trading or, you know, trying to make money on the trade?
You talking to me?
Yeah. What would you do? I mean, everything's pointing down, right? You got the 20, 10, it's numerically aligned to the downside.
Yeah, no, I'd have been out.
Right. Would you have got out on this big candle?
Yeah, well, let's see. I would probably have gotten in.
Assuming we're using this as the anchor over here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As soon as that big candle where we broke below the anchor, I'd have gotten out.
Right. There's our anchor and we're below it. So, yeah. I'm the kind of guy, I'll be hesitant. I'll start taking it down in pieces. But you can fuck around and turn what you should have got out of, it's obvious, into a big loss because you're fucking around.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with just you're out. You can always get right back in.
Well, and now we're finding support on the 200.
Right. You would be shocked how hard that is for people. And usually if we start trading like this, I can figure out what someone's issue is. Like, you know, like Jess, she's very systematic, right? If the 5 minute is not pointing up, she is not getting in the fucking trade, dude.
And that's regardless of what the
right.
one
Like
that's
I'll
doing.
start looking. I'm like, well, there's support here, and you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm quick. I'm very loose, but I'm also trading on. I wouldn't do that unless I felt like I had a feel for the market that day. Like I wouldn't wake up doing that.
Right.
But let's say I do wake up right now. I would wait. And the moment I think it's the bottom, I just get in. And you just got to get in. You got to get in flow. You just get in.
Right.
Now we're in. You know, if the next candle's red, I'm out. Right. Like,
well, and that's how I've inadvertently caught the bottom, you know, and caught 2, 3, 4, 500 points, you know, because that was the big probe to the downside in the morning, right? That I caught the doji or whatever it was. Cool. You know what I mean? Hit it.
Yeah. So
you know,
you get a doji and the RSI is 28 and it's sitting right on the 200.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I don't need it to fucking turn around. I got a reversal candle. I'm in extreme RSI. Like I'll take that bet, you know?
Right.
She's the kind of trader that wouldn't. And that's fine. You just need to know what you are. And what you don't want to be is sometimes you're that, sometimes you're this, sometimes you're that, because you're just going to be all over the fucking place.
Right.
This is awful, huh?
Yeah, that's a big push down.
Now we could, if I wasn't even, you know, thinking on trading the short side, but if I am trading the short side, here's the dilemma with trading the short side is one, are you going to short the actual instrument like TQQ? Or are you going to buy the SQQ? Because they look different, right? They're opposite.
Right.
So typically I'll watch the TQQ even if I'm buying the SQQ so that I stay in flow with the long side. Unless I decide that day.
That 5 minute just flipped.
I might decide at the open, I am only taking short signals.
Right.
I'm saying that. Well, then there's no reason to get on the TQQ. You could just get on the SQQ, and every stage one, every breakout is, you know, that's your buy signal.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing like being that guy who said, I'm only taking short signals, and then the market goes on a glorious 2,000 point run.
Right.
Right. So, you know, that's the hard part. But I have a friend, all he does is short. All he does is trade the SQQ. He could give a fuck about where the market's going. He's a short seller. He shorts the Qs the LBAU. It's the biotech short.
Oh, LabU.
Yeah, LabU, and then one other. And they're all inverse funds. And that is all he trades. To me, I don't understand that. And like he says, the moves are fast and quick. Boom. And then he gets his money and he's out. For whatever reason, that works with him. I'm just a long. I like being long. I mean, I do short, but not where I could just short all the time. And that's all I do. And it seems like every time that I say I am only shorting today, the market has a beautiful rally. Like, so I think you got to be flexible.
Well, I was about to say, I feel like you leave so much money on the table with a strategy like
But if
that.
you go into it, I'm trading both sides. That is very difficult.
Right.
Because the time you're getting out of a long, you should have already been in this short.
Right.
So if you're going to play that game, if you have enough money, and I'll do this sometimes, I don't show it on lives. I'll be, say, long the TQ and I'm taking it down. As I'm taking it down, I'm literally getting short either the Qs or buying the SQQ
Right.
at the same time. One of them's going to break, and then what I'm betting on is a run. If you don't get runs, you're fucked.
Right.
You got to have runs. If you don't get, if the market's not running, you don't want to try this idea. But if you're getting long run ups, round downs, run ups, wrong downs, you can play both sides.
Right.
But if you're getting lots of little, it looks like a cardiac fucking thing, you're going to get killed on both sides, man.
Right. EKG graph.
Right. So you got to be able to read that. And me personally, I trade the morning the best.
Yeah.
But if you're in training, like people that work with me, I make them trade all day. They hate it because they end up losing all the money by the end of the day.
Right.
Don't really care. I'm just trying to crash course them into a lot of trading in a short period of time.
Right.
I mean, if you trade an hour a day, cool. But if you trade 6.5 hours a day, you're getting 6 times the training.
Right.
I don't care that they're losing money. We can worry about that later.
I tell you what, I just wish the volume that you see in the first hour and a half of the day, I wish that carried all the way through the day. Because you know how it's like kind of like a parabola. It ramps up at the beginning of the day and the end of the day.
I'm convinced, man, my best times are the first hour and the last hour.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
I'm not disciplined enough just to trade those.
Right. Right.
I'm a degenerate, dude. Like I tell myself this, okay, this week I'm going to trade from 8:30 to 10. And then I'm going to go write and make videos and edit shit and do things and go work on a house or whatever, right?
Right.
And then, or get on my longs, look at my swings, update the portfolio. Like there's plenty of shit to do.
Right.
And then I'm going to come back in the last hour, I'm going to trade it. Okay, that's the plan. No, I day trade all day. I'm up 400, down 500, up 700.
Right. Well, and that's my thing too, is it's like when I'm green in the first hour and a half, it's like why not just leave it alone? You know what I mean?
I know, and I should.
I say that, like, I'm saying that to myself. I'm the same way. It's like, why are you like that, dude? Just like, I know you can make the money, right?
Right.
I know you can.
Watch, tomorrow it'll open, and by 10 o'clock, by 9:30, I'll be up.
Right.
Even just $100, $200, that's plenty, bro. If you can do that every day, go away.
Right.
You can add zeros.
Right. Oh, for sure.
You can just add zeros. You can make it add 1,000, 10,000. The market will absorb our money.
Right.
Like, we're not so big, we're gonna fuck it up.
No.
And I can't, bro. Like, I don't know what it is about me. Jess was real good about it, and then she kept hanging out with me.
Yeah.
And then she can't stop. And I was like, man, I feel bad now because she was all disciplined and shit. And but during training, I make people. I don't think you should limit it during training. I think you should just trade. Just trade. Just get sick of trading. Take trades. Just keep trading. And then when you do pull it back, you're gonna be like, this is easy.
Yeah. I'm
just trying to overload them.
Right.
For a short period of time.
How do you deal with the markets going down with the second income? Like there's not much you can do about it.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So you got to ask yourself, okay, if I can't do anything about this, I should get really mad and just like bang my head into a wall. That obviously is a dumb idea, right? Like, what you can do is observe it and say, is anything hitting me harder than others? Is that my fault, or is that just I got 50% of my money in CLM, CRF, and that's just the way it is? Make sure you're not, as long as you I try to do that 30% withdrawal available. So if I have, say, 150,000 in the strategy, I should have about 30,000 available for withdrawal. That's assuming you're taking no trades. Like if you're just doing the pure strategy, you're just collecting income, you're not trading. You want to keep it so that, because that'll allow you to ride these ups and downs. 30,000 on that fit, that's going to be a hell of a pullback. But if you have trades on, that number is probably going to be less. And so at some point, you might have to close some if either
we're back above the 5.
All mine are B&B trades, and we don't use stops. So that can be like Hershey's just keeps going down. Campbell's just keeps going down. Kraft just keeps going down. There's a bunch of Dollar General. They just keep going down. I don't think Hershey's is going to zero. It's connected to bonds right now. Yes, we got a stage 1. I'd be in right here.
Yeah.
So the problem we have right now is bonds are selling off, and any dividend stocks are a proxy to bonds. Bonds are for fixed income.
Yeah.
So wherever bonds go, that's where a lot of these high yield funds are going to go, because they own a lot of bonds. A lot of them own bonds. They own bonds related to stocks. They own stocks that pay high dividends. So they're all connected to that yield. And they're going to be very volatile to what the Fed is doing. So we need bonds to stop dropping. I think they're a great buying opportunity right here. Obviously, they could go lower. I'm in like 9 trades that I kind of wish I wasn't in. But here's the thing: if I wasn't in them, I'd be looking at buying them right now, right? So I don't have near as much available cat we're breaking out as I should have.
Yeah.
Have you, what account are you using? What broker are you using?
I'm using E-Trade.
Okay, so if you don't mind telling me, how much is your balance, not the portfolio?
About 9,000.
Okay, so $9,000. How much do you have? What's the total portfolio?
Right now I have it around 16,000.
Okay, so 9, 8. What is that?
I'm pushing it.
Yeah, you're pushing it now. I've pushed it even further, but some of those are trades. Now, is that all dividends or some of those trades?
No. I got them all dividends. I'm not doing trading, only unless, for example, I saw Misty was kicking my butt, so I kind of let it go and look for something with less risk, I guess.
Well, Misty's a 100% margin, right?
Yeah.
Anytime E-Trade sets something to 100% margin, that they're doing that to protect the brokerage firm. So that's a good sign to you that you need to realize what you're holding is very risky.
Yeah, definitely.
So what I've done is, if I want to keep it, I try to understand that I might lose that money. So typically I start moving money over. Let's say I wanted to buy Bitto. I would just move the money over and I'd move over $2,000 and buy $2,000 of Bitto. And I know what I just did.
Okay.
And here's the beautiful thing. If it runs and I make a profit, when I close it out, I got a bunch of fucking money now to buy, to buy leveraged stuff. So, and if you go into E-Trade, you can check the margin balance and you can see what is the margin on each position. And you just don't want to have a bunch of shit. Like the other day, I was talking to a guy and half his shit was like 100% margin. It was Coney, it was Misty, it was AIY, and I get it. Those are paying high dividends, but what we're trying to do, if you buy 3x of CLM or CRF, that's paying a high dividend too. And it's a lot less risky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not getting 90%, but you're getting 17% times 3. So it's almost like you might, they're. I told him he's being a little too goddamn greedy for the size of his account, And he was like, "Should I sell them?" I was like, "Or just add money and keep them."
Yeah.
Let the dividends build up. Don't buy any more of them. Buy more CLM, CRF, tier ones. Like right now, I like that what is it? AGISI.
ASGI or
That one's
Yeah.
18%, pays monthly.
yeah, I just picked some of that up as well.
ECC was one of those. So anytime we've had those drop down, go tier one, those tier ones drop down big like that, it's worked out well.
EIC, is that a stage 1 or 2?
ECC?
I mean tier 1 or 2? EIC.
EIC.
I thought that was one that you added as a tier 1, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
any of them that are regular closed-end funds, I consider tier 1.
Okay.
If they do anything with options, they're tier 2. If they're Defiance, tier 2. If they're Roundhill, tier 2. And Yield Max is tier 3. Those traditional funds are all basically tier 1s, RIM, YYY, GOF. These are just regular closed-end funds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those can be tier 1. And I prefer they pay monthly. It sucks to have your money locked up and they pay quarterly.
Yeah.
I have a few because they're just high quality shit like RIM and USA. Those are high quality funds, but it sucks. But then when they do pay, you get this big ass payment,
Yeah, payday.
Yeah. But I don't want to keep a lot. You see how it's hugging that 200?
Yeah. That's what I was watching.
Yeah, and you got to play that whenever it breaks that. When it broke that 200 and that bar shot right back up, this one here, that is crazy bullish. And all of these are inside of that bar. And if you're my friend Ashton, fucking MFG rebel, led a rebellion and left. I have people that do that, time to time. About every 2 years, we have a rebellion. They start going, well, fuck, I can do this. It's like, okay. And then they're like, oh, I don't have any followers. Like, they forgot about that part. They see how it's doing that triangle? Oh, broke out of the triangle there. They call that a flag. They call it a pennant. Have you ever heard that phrase?
Yeah, heard of it.
I don't do too much of those. Money flow kind of answers it. Stage 1, moving sideways. But I do see, you can see the wind up where it starts to kind of come in. If you do your trend lines above and below, you can see it just kind of wind up. It's usually a good sign for a continuation, But yeah, I mean, if I'm you and I'm running smaller money inside of the, if I'm running smaller money in that second income stream, I would run it to the max, man. That's me personally. If you get a margin, you might have to sell some shit. I would try to put money in because you don't have a lot of money in. That makes sense?
Yeah. I actually got a really small margin call, and I just sold whatever. But
when you get to where you're doing like I am 150,000, margin call could be a problem.
Yeah, I bet.
You don't want that. And you don't want to be greedy at a certain point. But early on, I'm willing to do that. I used to tell Jess to push it, man. When you start getting to 50, 60,000, you need to be able to sleep and know that, you want to protect the income. And it's going to grow sufficiently on its own once, like mine will have 9,000 come in this month. I mean, how hard do I got to push it if I know I got $9,000 coming in?
Right.
So that, and then I don't have to add anything. And, but I'm going to try to add more. I keep adding more. I'm trying to get mine to like 500,000. But here's the other thing. Once it gets like, you could add $1,000, it makes a little difference. If I had $1,000, it disappears. I could put $1,000 and it drops $3,000 today. And it's like, where'd that go? Like, feels like it didn't do anything. So as your account gets bigger, you're going to notice you can't add little sums anymore. You got to do some dumps or it's not even worth doing. And I've done, as mine gets bigger, my plan is to borrow, so rather than me put in 100 every day or put in 500 a week or put in that. I'd rather just borrow 30 grand, dump it in, and then pay it back. You know, and now I could just save it up and dump it in. Okay. But if it's at the right time, everything, a lot of stage ones, a lot of shit is down. If I could just click and borrow it, dump it in, buy a bunch, and then I would, you know, like I've done that several times, and I just connect either the card or wherever I did, I connect it to the account, let the account pay it back.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing, you know, I'm looking to do that with a 401k at work. You know, get a loan from there and pay interest on the 401k and basically earn on both sides. You know, second income and 401k, paying the interest and all that. Does it make sense?
I mean, would I do some shit like that? I would. I bet on myself, but you know, I can't go around telling people to borrow against their 401ks. You know, I've hit Discover Card a bunch of times. You know, I do that for real estate though, because once you have a card, it's separate from the credit card. They'll just loan you money, and then I'll borrow it, do the deal, do what we got to do, fix it up, and then pay it back. But I know I'm going to pay it back. You know, it's hard to advocate to guys to take on. I mean, I have no problems taking on debt to buy assets, to buy things that pay me money. No problem at all. You know, it's just you hate for a guy to early on. I hate to tell them to do that. You know, they've been trading for a while. Then I think they should do that. It's gonna accelerate your. You know, once you've proven to yourself. Now, if you did do that, I would only put it in tier ones.
Okay.
That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I would put it in tier ones and maybe some in the weeklies. I wouldn't drop it all in the weeklies or all in the high risk just in case, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Weeklies are brand new, man. This shit is all new. You know, the anchor funds have been around forever, but these, you know, Defiance and what Yomax, they're all new. And I don't see anything that hurts them, but they're still new. You know, so I did that. I did a 30,000 loan here a while back, and I just dumped it all in CLM, CRF, YYY, REM, you know, boom, just to get it up. And I kept about half waiting for a correction. Now we're getting it. You know, I kind of moved in a little early. I didn't think these fucking Dow stocks would keep dropping like they're dropping.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get it wrong. But every time I wake up, there's dividends. So, you know, I just let it go to cash and see what's up. And the only thing I drip is the ones that drip at the NAV. You know, I don't know that I started dripping the weeklies, and I just couldn't see how that was, you know, it seemed like I was getting less margin by doing that, which kind of makes sense because it goes into something that's 50% margin, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it seemed like I was getting less margin. So we got a support zone here. Damn, this thing started to run and then stopped.
Yeah. It's just been hanging around that 200.
Now, also on the you know, on the second income stream, I'm trying to buy stage ones. What was one here? Let me show you. BCAT is one. This one's 18% monthly payer. I mean, you know, that's if we're day trading this, that's a stage one, right?
Mm.
You see that, Ethan?
Yeah.
You know, it stopped here before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right in here, I started buying. I started buying on the other one too. Kind of came down, but it held that point. So if it would have broke it, I would have just waited. And if it comes down into here, cool. But just each time it starts to go sideways, I start accumulating shares, you know. And if this thing breaks and starts to run, I stop and I go to other ones. You know, there's more than just ECC was one, but now it's running. You know, but it came way down and then right in here started buying. You know.
Yeah, I picked up ECC at like 850-ish.
There you go.
Somewhere in there.
It ran, came back down. As soon as he started doing, I started buying again. Now it's running. You could still buy in here. It's a stage 2, but man, I sure liked it lower.
Right.
So I'd rather buy BCAT than this.
And you would hold BCAT in the second income?
Yeah, that's a tier 1.
Okay, cool.
That's a standard. I need to put out a list. There's about 70 tier 1s we track. I don't own them all. They haven't set up since we've been doing the strategy,
Right,
or
right,
they're an exact copy of something else we own. There's no reason to have overlap like that.
right.
And then like gut was one.
Yeah, gut was another one I picked up. Shoot, I guess it was down. I know it was below 5.
Yeah, so it fell. Boom, we're watching it.
Yeah, because it
We
moved
were set up
sideways.
right in here. I tried to buy some.
Yeah,
Came down. And you see that doji at the bottom?
yeah,
I bought. That's a
Yep.
doji on an extreme, dude. And then if you ran it back, it's a previous low. So I started buying,
yeah,
You don't have to be as exact, but you can use these trading skills to kind of, and that's better than just buying up here because it went down.
right.
And if you can do that consistently over a period of time, rotate your money. So as dividends come in, I'm targeting, BCAT. I want to be good funds. Now I might buy some weeklies just to get the shit going, but then I'm not just going to be buying weeklies every week. I don't think, I would wait because now we're getting a sell off. So what is it like QQQY? I mean, it's a lot cheaper now than it was, right?
Yeah,
If I'm trying to build up my weeklies, I might go ahead and just nibble at them here, but you got to understand it could just keep going lower. Easily go lower, come down in the 29 range.
yeah,
That's just from our trading skills. So I think trading skills can really help in that second income stream, especially as you take on some swing trades, you take on just targeting stage 1s. And I can send you that list. I have about 76 funds that I track.
yeah. That would be cool because I hadn't even heard of BCAB before. So
Yeah, there's a
that's
bunch of
good
them I
one.
have. I just waiting for the setup on them. There's some Blackstone ones. Now, I like the ones that pay monthly and that
Yeah.
are 30% margin.
Okay.
They're not all that way. So some of them will set up, but some of them can be used as an appreciation trade. You're going to get a nice dividend and they're at stage 1. So you might be able to buy it, ride it up, and you don't have to keep it. But while you're holding it, you're getting paid.
Right.
But if they're 100, there's a couple closing funds for whatever reason, they're 100% margin. I keep watching them, hoping they'll change that. And they're good funds. That usually means there's something about them E-Trade doesn't like,
Yeah. Some risk.
Yeah, whenever you see 100% margin, they're usually not wrong. Like they do this for a living. All right, so we broke that support with stop. If we get back above it, boom, I'm in, man. And then the target would be up here in this 94,400 range. It's a lot of shit going on around the 200. Damn.
The other one that I picked up, let's see. I bought it 3 days in a row. I bought it December 23rd, 24th, and then the 26th was EIC. And it's just been running ever since then.
Which one is it? EIC?
Yeah, I picked it up at in the 15, 18 range, right after you put that second income stream publication out on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a runner ever since then.
Yeah, and that's like a sister fund to that ECC.
Yeah.
BCAT has one too. It's called like ECAT. And some of this shit is just silly. They just don't buy certain things because it has a high carbon footprint.
Oh, geez.
No bullshit. That's what it is. It's like meet some ESG.
ESG capital allocation term trust.
I keep hoping they get rid of that dumb shit because it's like they'll have everything but the cigarette stocks. It's like, dude, come on. Like,
right.
Nobody has time for this. We can't
Right.
sit around figuring all this shit out. It's already confusing. Life's hard enough.
Right. Buy the cigarette stocks, goddammit.
Hey, dude, fuck, just trade stocks, man. If they want to smoke, let them smoke. Fuck, it's a free country.
Right.
If they do it with oil. And then it's like Tesla has like one of the worst EOG. You think it would be like good, right?
Right.
But he claims that it's nonsense they want him to do, so he won't do it. Like, it's not even some shit that would like affect the environment. It's like the way you do your paperwork. It's according to Elon Musk, he's like, fuck you, I'm not doing that. It's just dumb. It's paperwork. It's all bullshit. And so his rating is like really not good.
Right.
So some of those funds couldn't pick him up, but it's not because he's fucking up the environment. Like he's fucking electric building robots. Like,
Right.
but you know, Elon, he likes to fuck with people.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably something he could do really easy and just not.
Oh yeah. You know, there's a lot of that.
So I would be stopped out here. I would probably take it down because that's an ugly down move.
Yeah.
I may not have got in. I was waiting for it to get above that line there. Looked like it did it there. But if it got up in there, I definitely would have been in. Now I'm going to just assume it comes down to the next one. I mean, see, the RSI is not even extreme, so I'd assume we're going to go lower. Where's the money flow? It's not extreme. But to me, that'd be too late to get short. I don't know, maybe not. If you did it immediately when this broke, because I like to get short as soon as the box breaks, you know? Oh, shit. That's the problem. As soon as you get short, the motherfucker turns.
That's my experience. But I got to press sell to find it out every time. You know, I know it's going to happen, but once I actually press the button, that's when it actually happens.
Have you seen the what the Fibonacci?
Fibonacci ratios?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would those kind of follow what the?
I mean, I don't know. I've never found where they improve on the money flow. I mean, you could throw them on to kind of watch where you think the pullback might come, but either way, I'm going to wait on an anchor point. I'm waiting for it to set up, wait for it to get above the 5. You know, there's a lot of this shit, Elliott waves, Gann waves,
Yeah.
Fibonacci ratios. I think what makes a lot of this shit work is that you're just consistently using it. You're not bouncing from idea to idea. And there's a lot of people that use Fibonacci, so that probably makes it work. I'm just using the money flow and following the 4 stages, waiting for my anchor point. You know, like if we're looking at the higher time frame now on a 5-minute, I mean, it's been pointing down. So we've been down, 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 but now it's going sideways. Soon as that goes sideways, I'm looking to get, start getting along. Oh, look at that. See the doji?
Yep.
So we have a doji at support, man. So as soon as we get looks like it tried right there. Probably would have got in. I wasn't watching.
So if it got above the 5,
that would have got me in. I wasn't watching, but my stop would be right around in here.
Okay.
Soft spot. I'm gonna wait and see what it does. Use the rest. That's interesting. That's a doji on the 5, man. Sometimes dojis don't last. They look good, and then you go back and you're like, what was I looking at?
Right.
Going down, down, down.
Yeah, it's moved down $730 in an hour and 7 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's at 11:30 on a Sunday night, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still moving down.
Doesn't look like it's stopping
Yeah,
right away.
we might come back down to those.
Still holding that anchor.
Yeah.
What were you saying about Sunday night? Oh, shit.
No, I said it's moved down $750 in
Oh,
an hour and 7 minutes. And I told him, I said, and that's at 11:30 on a Sunday night. You
right.
know? That's why, like, if I can find a good broker where I can get decent leverage, this is something I need to look at trading more often, you know, because I like to trade New York Open, you know, but it's like shit. The price moves are smooth, you know what I mean? The price and the moves are big enough.
30 minutes, usually my jam, the 30-minute 1 hour for
Yeah.
Bitcoin. So this 30-minute ain't much happens, kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
1 hour. Oof. See, and it kind of had moved up, and I put on some futures contracts, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's turned right around. And that's trading, you know, and then fucking hour later it goes back up, and it's like, yeah, it was obvious.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's always obvious after the fact, you know. But it really hasn't done. I mean, the histogram is going to tell you, man. That's just what is. Like the momentum is to the downside right now. And then if you look at the TSI, they're open, you know. And so, but we're right at support, man.
Right.
So that's what I was playing off of. You see that doji right there, right off support. We had one here, it started to run, hadn't run, but at some point it feels like we're going to break, but it is not breaking right now. It is breaking down.
But I tell you what, if that support at 93, 688 breaks, I mean, that's a good $1,000 move down.
Yeah. And we'll be like, why weren't we short?
Right.
Whole way down, you're trying to get long. The faster you can see that, it's hard for me to get short here when on that higher time frame we're right at support. And sometimes you just don't do anything.
Well, and that's what, since I started following you, I've started doing that more often than not. Like when I just don't like the way it looks, it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I have a somewhat decent idea of what I'm looking for, and I don't see it. So
yeah, and cash is a position,
Yeah.
Just having money is a position. That could be hard, especially when it's moving fast. Like at night, like this, I can go to bed, not worry about it. During the day when it's running, it's harder.
Right. Well, and that's what's crazy is during the day, these moves will seem so insignificant. You know what I mean? When you get the $2, $3, $4, $5,000 days. And that's like same thing. Like I'm saying, if I could find a broker where I could get good leverage, I mean, you can make a shitload of money. Screw the NASDAQ, right? Where I can catch 100 points, dude. How, you got to be an idiot not to catch $100 move on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you can do the same thing. Like this is the 3. See, it's moving. This is the 3 minute.
Yeah,
I used to watch that a lot. 2 minute.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 2 minutes been my jam lately.
Sometimes you just back it up till you see the pattern you're looking for.
Right.
That confuses some people, but if you're looking at it on a 1 minute and you're not seeing money flow patterns, it's like it's probably not the time frame. And some shit you can't. Like I used to like to trade TSLL. Well, on a daily, it moves nice. Okay, well, let's drop it down to a 1 minute, and it's it doesn't flow as well.
Right.
You get it on a 5 minute, it starts to flow a little better. So some shit just flows better on a longer time frame.
Yeah.
But you can look at this. Basically the same price since January 7th. You know, I mean, you can get churned in that shit, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
So having some way, you got to, you know, whatever time frame you're trading, you got to have some way of identifying that. I think if you can follow price in multiple time frames and lower, I call that time continuity.
Yeah. Or time frame correlation. Yeah.
Sometimes you can find your, I mean, the biggest loss I've had is trading Tesla. No bullshit, man. If you get on Tesla, because you can trade it with leverage, you know, it's because they give you, it's 4-to-1. So even though it's 394, you know, you buy 10 shares of Tesla, you can lose a lot of money just on 10 shares. Because if you look at it, 10 shares, that'd be 3,940, you know, then it falls down like, what is this, like 3,700? So, well, that would be what, $100? That's not too bad, right?
Yeah.
But if it runs from 38 to 420, but now make it 25 shares, you know?
Right.
Well, if you go 100 shares, that's 39,000 to 42,000. That's a $4,000 run, you know?
Yeah.
From here to there, dude. So from here to there, that's $4,000. The problem is in here, you know, in the whipsaw land, that's 30 minutes. So if we drop down to the 1 minute, see, to me, I just don't like the way that moves.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah, right. It doesn't. I need shit to get away from the 20, or it's hard to call it. Now it could just be that it was low volume day. The okay. So now watch TQQ. You get bigger runs, you know, up and down.
Yeah.
Let's try 1 minute. I don't know. It don't look too good right there. Of course, we're coming out of holidays and shit too. Let's look at like an Uber. Ugh, looks terrible. So you can't trade that. Not on a 1 minute. I mean, I don't know who would trade Uber on a 1 minute, but we do sometimes. I don't know why I'm saying that. That looks better, right?
Yeah.
So what all have you tried to day trade, Ethan?
Really, I would say just futures. And then like when I traded options, it was, you know, based off of futures. So like QQQ and like SPY.
What about like oil or big or gold?
I've day traded gold futures. I had luck with that.
I'm in a silver trade, a futures trade right now.
Oil, not as much. What I've noticed with gold is it moves a lot like pre-New York Open, and when gold moves, it moves with a shitload of volume. Like wherever it's going quick. And that was something that was a little hard for me to get used to. But I guess it's the same thing with like anything really, you know, when buyers or sellers or whatever's in control, you best hope you're on the right side of the trade.
Yeah. So like right now I'm long. Let's see. Hold on. This right here, silver. The SLV.
What is that ticker for
SLV.
SLV?
Now on stock, if I'm trading as a stock, I trade AGQ. It's 3 times silver.
AGQ. Okay.
You can make some fucking money with this. My biggest trade ever was with this.
Is with this right here?
Yeah. But silver ran from like $5 to like 50.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've been chasing that ever since and hasn't done it again. But it still moves, you know.
When was that? Do you know? Or do you remember?
2015, maybe. This is the thing. When a lot of time, you know, I've been trading 20 years and a lot of shit, I just had no reason to remember it.
Right, I understand.
And then let me see.
It was AGQ, you said?
Yeah. The SLV is because the AGQ is a triple leverage.
So the trade was on the SLV.
Yeah, so go back to SLV and look at like 2010.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go back to the monthly chart.
Yeah, go to a monthly. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, so I'm seeing it as lows of like 2008.
Right, but like around 2010 is what, and the bitch ran to like $50, maybe. Like the middle of 2000.
So from
Yeah.
2000, from January of 2010, it ran from 15 to 48.
Yeah.
And then from
It actually hit
like December of 08, it ran from like 961. Yeah, all the way to 48. So I mean, you caught.
But I was in the triple. So AGQ.
Yeah.
And it ran from like, I want to say, I don't remember exact price at the time, but it went to like $400.
Damn. So you caught it when it went parabolic.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I was doing, like, to be honest. Like, I was in the trade, I was learning, doing the money flow and shit. It took off, and
What a run.
I started to sell it, and I go, well, I'm gonna wait. I kept waiting, and after a while, it went so high, it was like I might as well just give it room,
Right.
Yeah, but it turned like $1,000 into like 25,000. I mean, it could have turned a lot into a lot more, but that was the first time I'd ever turned like $1,000 into like enough money where you're like, fuck, dude.
Right. Well, see, for me, I got in Nvidia what I thought was high at the time. This was pre-split. So this was like 390, I guess. And then it ran like 750, 850, 1,000, 1,100. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Holy shit. And then it's like, I was euphoric. So I'm like,
imagine if you had that in a margin account.
right. Well, and that's why I'm like,
Could have just instead of selling it, just buying CLM.
Well, and I was parking so much money, my money in VOO, and I'm like, if I'd have allocated, and of course it's like the gift of hindsight, but it's like, dude, if I would have cut off a sliver of that S&P position that I was building and put it in Nvidia, like when I look back now at the chart, I still have the average price line, and it's like down here, and price is up here. And I had a buddy at work, he was like, oh, you need to sell it. You need to sell it. I'm like, no, I'm going to let this motherfucker run,
Yeah.
So, and they're still bullish on it. They still call it like 175, $200 stock, so I'm like, I trimmed a bit, just to say cool. But I mean, I would say every bit of 70% of my position's still running, maybe more. But yeah, I didn't want to sell it, because it felt like it would make it end.
Yeah. So,
and it's like, and when you're in that, it's like, the chances of me going and finding something else that's going to do this tomorrow, right, isn't very high. I know something eventually will, but
you got to weigh it. I mean, like I sold most of that silver and I bought a house with it.
Yeah.
And I just kept trading silver. I mean,
right.
But I've met so many people that would make that move. They 20x in Bitcoin, they sold it all, they bought a property, and then they stopped fucking with Bitcoin.
Right.
It's like, why didn't you put money in Bitcoin the next day, dude? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because that was in 2017. And 12,000 was the high,
Right.
And now and I go, why aren't you doing it now? And he goes, well, it's too high. But he's been saying that since 2017. It's like, you just keep playing. I mean, but put in BNGO. This is one I hit too.
BNGO.
Now the chart's been readjusted. These charts are adjusted for both, for when they do split and shit.
Is yours going straight down?
Yeah, but if you look in July of 2020,
I'll do a weekly chart. You said July.
Go to monthly. Okay.
July.
Yeah, of 20.
Yeah.
It's like $2.50. Maybe a little higher. Like April. You see right in there where mine's at?
Yeah, like three something.
Right. And then it runs to, what does it show? 100 and what?
156.90.
Right. This was my biggest win ever. It was 15,000%. No bullshit.
And he fucking did it again.
Yeah. But I only had $500. But it wasn't $2.50. The charts have been readjusted. It was 50 cents, dude. And I bought like $500 of it. We researched it, and this ARK Funds was buying these genomic stocks. So this is one of the penny stocks we found. I had $500 in it. And literally like 2 weeks, I mean, not very long at all. This motherfucker just takes off. And it goes to like $5. And like most of the people in the MFG sold it at like $5. And then it went to $100.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like it was our biggest win and nobody wanted to talk about it.
Well, I'd imagine if you sold it, I wouldn't want to talk about it either.
Right. I just kept holding it. You know, I sold some and then it just kept going up and up and up. And pretty soon, like 400 shares that you bought at 50 cents a share, you know, were trading at $100. So it's a lot.
Well, and you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have like an 8-week period.
Yeah. Eventually,
from October to December.
And I didn't make that whole thing because of the way I played it, but I turned 500 into like 25,000.
Wow.
Dude, so the week of December 21st, 2020, it went up 30.56%. The following week, it went up 336%.
Yeah, all said and done, it was like 15,000 or something.
The week after that, it went up another 52%.
People kept
week after that, 80%,
wait and see what happened.
16%, 12%.
There was no reason to sell. Every day was higher. It was insane. And I was like, dude, I should have bought more.
That's the definition of parabolic.
Yeah. You don't know what in those times the best thing to do is nothing.
Right. Well, and that's like
sell shit.
That's like when I talk to these cats at work, they're like, you don't remember 2008. Didn't you get crushed during COVID? And it's like, look at a price chart, right? And tell me you don't see the V-shaped recovery followed by a fucking parabolic move, right?
Yeah,
another 50, 60, 80% higher. What are you worried about? You know?
Yeah, there's nothing. Like this is BX, right?
BX.
I only have 180. I used to have like 500.
Is this the one that Grant Cardone put you on?
Yeah, I'm just watching YouTube. So I paid, my average price is $25. It's 164 now.
Your average is what, 25?
Yeah, so I'm up 539%. So that's 25 grand. It's only worth 29. I only put $4 grand in this stock. You know, and it went up $25,000.
Jesus Christ.
So it's like, some people would sell that. To do what?
Right, why?
It might go 1,000, dude. Like, who knows? Like Walmart too. And I haven't owned Walmart that long, but it's 200.
Well, and it's like from where you're at now, right? It could pull back 200%.
Easy.
Right, or 300, and you'd still be cooling. That's where I'm at with Nvidia, right? That's why it's like, why would I sell this, right? Like, I can lose half of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Right? Or it can come down 50%, and I'm still cooling. You know what I mean? Like, what are you worried about?
And some of them will show red, and you're not really red, man. Like,
right.
AG&C stays red. Unless you just buy a shit ton at the low. You know, but I've owned it for a long time, and it's just constantly. But if you add the dividends in, you know, obviously you're not red,
right?
And it's also hard to account for. Like one time, a bunch of yield max, they pay me money, and I take all that and I buy medical properties, It was like $4,000 in dividends for them, and I bought it for $3 and whatever, bought 1,000 shares, and then it runs to like $6 or $7. Well, I couldn't have bought that if I didn't get those dividends.
Right.
So I don't know how you add that into the return, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're not necessarily putting all the dividends back into themselves. No, Blackstone, I mean, I'm hoping I did. I mean, if I didn't, I should have, right?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've read like in these four, it's at 719. But it's like a bunch of different accounts, you know. But well, let's do dividends on let's do all of them.
Yeah, that's fire.
Now I don't think it's counting the weeklies. I think it's having some problem because once those stocks went to weeklies, the dividend estimation has been wrong.
Dude, last week, it was we had that green day. I don't know, what was that, have been Thursday? And I'm like, cool, right? My account went up like 1%. The dividends went down like 30. I'm like, okay, something's not adding up here. You know, like I know they fluctuate, but that's a big fluctuation.
And you could look at the list, and if you sit and take your time, you could figure out what it's not counting.
Yeah. Well, and mine wasn't counting any of the group D's, I think it is,
right.
the yield max.
And then it's not counting it 4 times total, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is my wife's IRA. It's in her name. I mean, and I've only been allowed to put $5,000 a year in this shit.
Right.
So it takes a fucking while, man. But so the dividends are at $9,600 a year. And it's funny how much faster you can get past that with this other way, you know?
Right.
I mean, obviously these are less risky. But it was funny. I've been buying the AG&C forever. And I remember when it went over $100, and I thought, cool. But now they're like 124. It's crazy how fast it starts to grow, you know?
Right.
Let me see how many shares I have. And I don't try to balance every portfolio. Some of them are just heavy oil or heavy this. That's just what it is. That's where I'm buying them, you know?
Right.
Like SoFi, I'm up 92%. I've sold a bunch of this shit too. So these type of stocks, I'm just going to wait till they go on sale, you know?
Right, right.
And I might use dividends from AG&C to help buy shares. I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know how you count that. And they'll be like, well, it was down so much. Well, I don't know that because I bought other shit and it went up 90%. So it's not a real true accounting, you know? That's what I'm trying to say. You could have a swing trade, you do good, you make a little bit, but then you roll that in something that goes up 50%, and then you take that and and so it's how do you count that?
Right. Well, and like my thing is, it's just hard to argue with, right? Like every single position in your second income could be red, right? And at least for mine, majority of them are.
Yeah.
But it's like when you look at, okay, but it's going to pay me that, right? Well, I'm none to red anyway, right? But when you parlay red in with that's what it's going to pay me, cool. Yeah, take my money. Let me get some more.
It's also time getting on the bus, you know?
Yeah.
Like I had a friend, I was trying to get him to put 250,000 in CLM and CRF, and it was $6 and something.
Right.
So it would have ran to $8 and something, and he's getting those crazy dividends dripping at the NAV. I mean, he would have turned it into well over $500,000. I mean,
right.
But he didn't. So then he did start doing it around $8. So now he's in the red.
Right.
Getting about the same dividend. I mean, it's just when he got on the bus, you know. But over time, I mean, if you use the money flow and you pick up state, it takes about 2 years, man. That's what I tell people, because you got to go through some cycles. Because imagine you come in and everything's up and you're going good and it starts going up, but then we have a big download and everything is red.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you don't buy any. You know, when it comes back up, you're not up, you're back to even. But there's other people, that's their first stage one, man. They're buying them all. Fucking, you're back to even. He's up 30% on the year.
Right.
And getting the same dividends you. It's just his is green, your screen's red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's the same dividend. it's and so sometimes we can have an opinion of a stock or a thing based on when we got on. Imagine you start investing in 2007, you put like a couple million in. 2008, it falls 50%. You're like, fuck.
Well, and it's like, I guess you could really argue that there is no bad stock if you pick it up at a good enough price.
Well, that's what Buffett would say. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Are you still getting the dividend? Don't worry about it, But it's hard to explain that to people. I mean, I had a guy freaking out because he started buying some CLM at like 840, whatever, near the high. And I was like, first off, you were buying it pretty high down the road on the RSI. You had to assume it was going to come down, bro.
Right.
Read any of my shit, And then he was like kind of pissed. I'm like, God damn, how many shares you got, dude? 200. So I'm like, okay. So
it's like, what you so worried for?
You bought 200 shares and you were hoping it never went down. It was just always going to go up. You don't have enough that it mattered, man.
Right.
Bro, you need it to come down. Like, his entire view of it is fucking skewed right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs it to come down, right?
You have to.
Bitcoin, I mean, I don't think it goes to 13,000 again. But I mean, if you go on my Instagram, like in December that year, 2004, I'm saying don't buy your kids shit, buy them Bitcoin.
Right.
Dude, it was 13,500. I'm in the French Quarter walking, it's freezing. I'm walking, I look over and there's actual Bitcoin graffiti. I've never seen that in my life. I stopped and I'm like, this is like a message from God, dude. I called my wife. She's like, stop bugging me. Oh, there's Bitcoin graffiti. I'd never seen that before.
And this was in the quarter?
Yeah, dude, I'll send you the picture. And it wasn't like great, but it was the Bitcoin symbol. And it right there, I'll have to show you, it was right on Bourbon Street, right on the thing. And I just stood there, looked at it, and I'm like, this is fucking graffiti. And I sat down. Everybody's like, what's the big deal? Dude, it's Bitcoin graffiti. You ever seen? I'm sitting there, people are going by.
Right.
Bitcoin's 13,500. It was literally at stage one. And like, I literally was on the phone like that day with this influencer. His name's Chris Johnson. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He called me and he goes, dude, this is like a perfect stage one. It's 13,000. I go, I know. But he bought $1 million worth.
True.
Do the math. It was 13,000. He bought $1 million. But he was one of my students and he had like 250 and he called like the meme craze. So he had the money to do that then. And so he bought $1 million at 13,000.
Crazy.
Yeah, bro. Like if you watch his stuff now, he's Bitcoin only. No shit. I would be too if I fucking 100x, whatever that is, 20x, 30x. And
I just feel like, fuck, when you pick it up at 13, it'd be so hard for me to buy it at anything other than 13.
Fucks your head.
You know what I mean?
Right. But that happened to me with McDonald's. I was buying it at 50. They went to 100. I'm selling. I'm a genius. Falls down to like 70. I'm like, fuck, dude, 70. I bought it at 50.
Right.
I don't buy it. Goes to 150. Then it pulls back to 100. I'm not paying fucking 100. I bought it at 50.
Right.
You wanted to go back all the way?
Yeah, it's 250 now.
You need to take this motherfucker back to zero.
Yeah. So, Amazon, I mean, goddamn, it went to 3,000. Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
It's hard, but if you're building out and you're trying to, I mean, like CLM, you're just going to have to buy it on stage one. I mean, and then it may do another stage one. Cool, buy that one too. But you're going to catch all the ones down and all the ones up. I mean,
yeah.
If you stay with it, right?
Yeah.
You just got to buy shit you're not worried about. And to be honest, that's about when I went all in on Bitcoin. Not all in, but I mean, I was a believer. Like I have a position in it. Like I own real estate. Like I have this, I have that. I believe in Bitcoin. But Chris went all in. And it worked, man. But I don't know how you eat it. How do you get money from it?
Right.
That's the problem. Like you need dividends, man. So it's like you should have sold half and bought Bitto, and you could have wrote it up with Bitcoin and got dividends too.
That's one that I heard you talk about, but I really like it.
Yeah. So Bitto tracks it like 85% of the price of Bitcoin, but it pays a fucking 40% dividend. So
which is
exposure to Bitcoin and collect money.
I think I'm
Which
gonna
is that one?
Problem is, it's called BITO, BITO.
Okay.
On E-Trade, it's dollar for dollar. You can't margin it. But on M1 Finance, it's 50% margin. So every dollar you put in a BITO, you can borrow out 50 cents. So in theory, you could borrow it out and buy the BITX to 2x Bitcoin. So you get what I'm saying? So you buy BITO, it pays a dividend, you take the dividend, and you buy the 2x Bitcoin. And you leverage on both of them. Keep doing it. Yeah, I should have thought of that like 3 years ago. But
well, that's why whenever I found that second income strategy, it's like, say less, let me funnel every last dollar I can into this. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I have a friend. She has good credit, no real career or job right now, right? Female, Hispanic, U.S. Army veteran, disabled. Okay, I feel like we checked all the boxes.
right.
So we go to the SBA and we borrow as much as they give us. Take that shit, go put it in E-Trade, and then double it. And then we start paying that loan back immediately with dividend.
Right.
So like try to borrow like 350, turn it into 700. It's just all tier 1s and 2s. We don't even have to do 3s. And just for every dollar, paying that loan back. So I figure in 10 months, 11 months, the loan's paid off. And now we have free $700,000.
That's nuts.
So I said this, and I go, I'll manage it. I'll help you, because they trade a little bit. I'll show you. Like, we'll do it together, man. But here's the deal. If we pay the loan off, I get half the money. So if we pull this off, I get $350,000. And if we don't pull it off, you have bad credit. Who cares? You don't own shit. Like, it's a non-recourse fucking SBA loan. You have nothing to lose, man. We're not going to lose all the money, dude.
So basically, right, this works out. I
Right.
get 350, and if it
So
doesn't, your credit gets wrecked.
If I make it work for you in 1 year, I get 350 fucking grand. I'm all in on this idea,
I bet you are.
You're taking all the financial risk.
Oh my God, that's
But then if it works, we do it again. Now we got 2 million or whatever.
right.
Wow, I got to think about this.
Dang.
Okay, fuck you then.
So realistically, that's a blueprint to run up 5-10 million.
But I could do it with 20 people, right?
Yeah.
Now, they may say, what kind of store do you have? I don't know, Matt. Maybe we got to open a store. I don't know. But let's not put a lot of shit for sale in there. You know what I mean? Like, let's just open the store and sell nothing. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, these are, and I think, because I was comparing it like an SBA loan, right? So you open a restaurant. Okay, you got to go hire people. You got to get food. You got to fucking cook it. You got to do all this stuff.
Right.
Right. And then you think you're making any money next month?
No, absolutely not.
Well, I'm making 35,000 because that's what would come in on the dividends, man.
Yeah.
I don't hire anyone. Like, there's no one to hire. There's no food. We're just watching TV, looking at our fucking portfolio. So every month that it works, the risk gets less and less and less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you could reinvest it and go for broke. But I mean, I think I'd pay the loan back first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I can't get that loan. I'm a rich white guy. Like, they're not giving me, they're going to want me to do something with it. I thought about trying it, just saying, hey, I don't know, I'll figure out what I'm going to do after you give me the money. It depends on what type of loan you're getting. You could just tell them the truth, man. And you can lean on this at the bank once you get it going. People just don't think about that because dividends are qualified income.
Oh, are they really?
Yes, you can loan on them. You can borrow. You can get cars, any of that shit. They're just going to look at your income and you just show them your brokerage statement and your qualified dividend income. It goes on your fucking tax return. So that's one of the ways I get qualified for loans, not having a job. It's more qualified than rent. Like I collect rent on 15 properties. So we show them our books, right? But then in dividends, 170,000. And so then they'll just Oh, the guy makes 200 grand. They give you a loan.
Oh, no shit.
It's hard when early on you don't make much. You're trying to get a loan from the bank. You don't have a job. They're kind of hesitant to give you money.
Right.
Yeah, but then one day I'm sitting there in the French Quarter. I'm thinking, like, I'm looking around the room, and it's like this black guy. There's all these people that would qualify for all this stuff. I'm like, man, we should borrow all this and just. Then I'm thinking in my head, here's in one of those American Greed episodes where guy borrows all this money and he's like, fucking, yeah. I don't know what would go wrong. Maybe a stock market crash or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's because it seems easy, but nobody's doing it. And when I explain it to them, they look at them like I'm crazy. But then they're going to go buy a food cart. There's a guy, he's a bartender, and he's leaving to go work in the oil fields. He's got it figured out. 10 months, he makes 75 grand. He's buying a food truck. So I'm like, okay, 75 E-Trade, we double it. We're getting 150. Dividends are 8,000 a month. How much you make on that food truck, bro? You know,
Yeah.
4,000 or 5,000 on a good, but you got to get up and do the food truck part.
Right.
What if we don't do that and we make more? And then you can just go back out and get more money in the oil well, come back and double it. So I sit and explain that to him. I was like, bro, 3 years, you're done. Like, I'm showing him this thing, and he's like showing me this 25-year food truck business.
That's too long.
Yeah, once you know these things, it's hard in your head to comprehend.
Well, and that's what
these guys help them do these tie-dye shirts.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. And I'm watching them. What you guys make? And they're showing me, and I'm like, bro, I can do it in like 8 minutes when the market opens. Like, I'm not going to sit here all day doing fucking shirts if I can go make a lot of, but they don't know these things,
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's my thing with finding out about the second income stream. It's like, okay, cool, right? How can I get all the money into it that I can, right? And you do that for long enough, and then you look at the income, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, the 9 to 5 just became optional, but keep your foot on the gas, keep building it, yada, yada, yada. That was my thing when I saw the scalability. Like I said, after my first round of buys, I think the income was like $400 or $500, and I didn't even buy that much. And I'm like, oh, good Lord, And then, like I told you, I seen your account, I seen Jess's account. So there was like tiers to it. There was levels to it. You know what I mean? And that's all I needed was where I was at, right? Like a midpoint, and then where you were at is, say, the apex or whatever, which we know is even more scalable. But it's like, but you tell people, and then it's like, oh, but look at all that red. Look at all that red in that portfolio.
Or the risk.
It's like you're small-minded. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
I made that one video like a year ago where I was comparing if I went and borrowed the average loan from the SBA was like
350. Yeah, 350.
And I was like, man, I can't put this out, man.
Right.
People are going to ask me how, and I wasn't ready to explain all that. So I actually forgot about it, man. That video, and then I was with Jess, and I was like, man, I did a video on that one's gone over well. And I'll borrow to do shit. I don't want to be telling people because I don't know that they're going to do the right thing,
Yeah.
There's ways to hedge it too. You can hedge the portfolio. Right now, you could be short. You could have bought puts on the SPY. But I think if the funds generate enough money, that's kind of like a put.
Right.
As long as you weren't over leveraged, and if you're getting weeklies and you're getting monthlies on top of the weeklies because you're going to spread it out how many you're buying, you're going to have money offsetting the downside coming in.
Well, and then if you pick up, a couple funds from each group, then the yield max essentially become weeklies on top of YMAX and YMAG.
If you're buying the ones when they run, one time I was up 5,000 or 6,000 in Misty. I didn't even trim it because the dividends were so fucking big. I didn't see a reason to.
Right.
Now it's come down, and I think I'm only up a fucking grand. It's amazing how fast that thing moves. And I was second guessing that. And I'm like, no. When it was up, you made this decision, So now it's time to buy more if you think it's headed higher,
Yeah.
It is hard to buy more if something you were up 5 or 10,000 in.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to have to, like CLM, I'm up like 30,000 in that shit. I mean, if I want it bigger, I need to buy more. It's going to be more than I paid for it. I mean,
Right.
so I just buy every stage one. That's just the plan. I don't give a fuck what the price is. It's the only way to, the dividends now broke 1,000, and it wasn't that long ago when I first started. All I did was when I first started putting all this together, I was trying to sell houses and make up for lost income.
Yeah.
Came across this guy and he goes, man, what do you do with your day trade account? I was like, well, I keep money in there, and anything over 30, I take as income. Anything under 30, I got to earn it back, That keeps me being able to day trade. And he goes, well, you should park it. And he told me, and I go, yeah, I've thought of that. But then he goes, no, and then borrow on it. Shit, I did the math. And I'm like, oh, God damn, dude, it'd be like $3,000 a month.
Right.
So I start fucking with them. That's about the time that TSLY came out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I started fucking with that, and that Defiance and them started coming out, I was kind of hesitant to show it to people because I'm like, dude, listen, I know this says 80%. But there's a lot of erosion, and you're probably not going to get 80. You might get half of that, but that's still 40,
Right.
We trade around this motherfucker. And then if it's AMD, it sets up real low, we might take a trade in AMD. You make a couple $100, that offsets erosion, close it out. That was my thought on that. And then just collect dividends, but it just keeps growing and growing.
Right.
It's weird. It could stay in the red, yet your balance is going up.
Right. Make that make sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never been in the green in ULT, but I've collected a shit ton of money from it. But I don't put back into ULT, you know what I mean? Necessarily. That's how I buy other things. Well, it just hits my balance, and then I just buy shit every day,
Right.
Yeah. That's the way to play that game, I think. You just every day be buying,
So
So like if you start buying BCAT tomorrow, you can just buy like 3 or 4 shares. And then the next day, 3 or 4 shares. That way you can buy 3 or 4 of this one, or 1 of this one, or 2 of this one.
Right.
And we're not charged. We used to get charged money, like 20. I mean, when I first started, it was like $29 to buy something.
Yeah, that's insane.
So you'd have a portfolio of like 10 fucking things, man. Now my shit's like 140 things. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I can just buy 1 fucking share if I want. I'll buy 2, and sometimes I'll just look and it's 143 at stage 1. I don't like 143. I like 145. I just round it. You don't have to make it like a science project.
Well, and now some brokers, I mean, not E-Trade, of course, but some of them you can buy $5. You know what I mean?
Right. Like M1, you can buy partials.
Yeah.
M1, you could just put all the yield max in a pie, and just fucking every day add $10. It'll spread it. I mean, you can make it that simple, and that works. I'm not arguing that doesn't work.
Right.
If you do it money flow style, you're going to catch moves up, and you're going to be able to trim, and you're going to be able to add some alpha you wouldn't have otherwise been able to add.
Well, and that's what's kind of making me want to move my Roth IRA over to E-Trade, is I like the versatility, and like
the only thing I like about M1 is you can pay the margin back.
Yeah.
And there's times where that's cool, because then if you need to borrow some money, you got a spot.
Right.
E-Trade, this is the game. We're trading. We're traders. We're playing a game.
Right.
But E-Trade's real time, lots of shit. But M1 has its perks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try to get the people that aren't that bright or not going to stick with it. I'm like, bro, just open M1, put all your goddamn money in there, buy CLM, a couple of these little things, and then fucking let's borrow a little bit on it, and then that's it. And if you ever need money, don't take it out, borrow against it.
Right.
Most people, if they did that, if you get enough in there, you could just borrow for your own car. Instead of paying the car company, you just pay yourself back.
Yeah.
Plus, you're getting fucking dividends. You know what I mean? Like,
so are you thinking with what, an account balance, anything under 50K, push it?
I would. Because you got money, you could move it over in an emergency. You could buy yourself out of the position.
Right.
I mean, you could just say, fuck it, I'm just going to buy because any dollar you put in, you're buying back shares that are in the account.
Right.
Like you're holding that. So if you ever hope to have 60 or 70,000 your own money in, that's what it would be. I mean,
right.
You start getting up into the 200, 300,000, like you might not be able to buy it back.
Yeah, I understand.
Like I have a million, but of that, only 150 of it is that. But I have 200,000 borrowed.
Yeah.
On my 150, so I'm running hot. But I already know the 7 I'm gonna cut if I have to. I'm gonna protect the income.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna cut them in order of tiers. Like CLM, that's not happening. Like the tier 1s are not getting ever. Tier 2 should never need to be able to. Let's say worst case, crazy. I don't know, fucking nuclear. I don't know, zombies. I'll cut all the yield backs.
Yeah.
Before I cut the weeklies or before I cut CLM or CR. I mean, that's already been decided. That'll be a shitty day.
Right.
But I don't want to get rid of the weeklies. They're all around indexes.
Yeah.
Like the YYY, or no, QQQ is not going to 0. But
No.
could go to fucking, I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And, you might have to, I prefer to just put some money in there and not have that problem.
Right.
Now, what I started doing is if I have money, I put it to work. I can't sit on cash.
Right.
Like Warren Buffett's sitting on 30 billion. No, bro. I'd be buying CLSK. I'd be in there buying shit like we're not sitting on 30 fucking billion.
Yeah.
So what I started doing is that's when I would borrow. When I'm all in, it looks like the market's topping out. That's when I would borrow money. And then I would have a big chunk ready, and I just wouldn't deploy it until it was time.
Right.
But I try to time it so at the very least, if I do start using it, I was using it at a very big high.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like I'm waiting on a pullback. I mean, because I just can't sit on money, dude. It's just not possible. But one good thing about second income is you're getting dividends,
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so addicting is every time I'm buying shit, I'm seeing the income go up. It's like, good Lord,
Yeah. And like this weekend, mine was like 2,700. That's real money, dude. It's like, God damn.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where it's like, it doesn't take much effort to go from 0 to, $1,000 a month.
It's exponential.
Whatever, Yeah.
And then, like I said, I went out and I moved over some stocks that were like Uber. I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to take a tax hit. So I moved it. And when I moved it, once it cleared, you get 3 to 1 on it. So I'm not selling Uber, man. So I took the money and I bought all stage 1s.
So I have a question for you. How I have Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, VOO, all shares that are up a lot.
Yeah.
How could I get those? There's no way to get them from a Roth to from my Roth rate over, is there?
If they're in a Roth, no.
That's what I figured.
Because
I'm hearing you say that. I'm like, ooh, those would be good to borrow from.
Yeah. I mean, you're all in at that point. I mean, something goes wrong, but I would protect them.
Yeah.
I've done that in the sales where I'm putting in my own money. Like I don't want to blow out of any of these.
Right.
If there's shit I don't mind blowing out, I'll blow out so I can get the cash. But if I got a trade I don't care about, I'll cut it so I have liquidity.
Right.
Because you're going to get more income. You're going to ride it out and sell as long as it lasts so long. But I have had to put money in. Like, and you're like, okay, man, are these stocks worth fighting over here?
Right.
But I think everything in the second income is, I mean,
maybe he could do what I mentioned earlier. I mean, like if you, I mean, I don't know if you're 401k. I'm sorry. You said it's a Roth, right?
Yeah.
Does it have like a loan option? Maybe you can do that. I don't know.
I'd have to. I can actually.
If it's a work one, they usually do. There could be,
and especially the like the VOO position. I mean, that's like a $7,000 or $8,000 position.
Yeah.
which for me was, is one of my larger holdings,
Yeah. M1 right off the bat, I mean, they'll give you 50%, sometimes 75. And then you only pay interest. So if you buy shit throwing you money,
is there any way?
I'm collecting like $800 on every $49, I think. If you're just doing interest.
Yeah.
Interest only, like you're not paying the loan back. But every time you get the 800, you can borrow more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I probably should call an end here.
I just want to see real quick, see what the deal is for borrowing. Borrow, take a personal.
You can probably borrow up to like 50% or so. And you pay interest to your
It says
to your Roth.
individual or joint brokerage accounts. Yeah, Roth IRAs are not eligible for margin loans.
So you might be able to borrow against the fund, not as a margin loan, just as a loan.
Yeah.
They call it something else.
Personal loan, maybe
Yeah, they call
at
it
8%. Is that borrow? Portfolio line of credit, maybe? Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna let you borrow. I forget what they call it, but it's like a direct loan against your. Anyway, I like fucking with this M1. I'm trying to get more money in there. It's an interesting. It's not as trader friendly as E-Trade is. Yeah, but I can see it has its uses.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you. Like I said, as
Thank you,
soon as I seen your story, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, try to do some more different stuff, man.
Are you streaming tomorrow?
Oh yeah, hopefully doing the show in the morning.
All right, right on.
Yeah, hopefully Jess will be on there. Yeah, might have some people come on if you want to jump on.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll be at work, but I'll definitely be watching and contributing as much as possible.
Oh yeah, I always forget you work.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just always see you there.
Yeah. No, they're pretty cool about phones and shit being out. It's laptops, unfortunately not, but yeah, the phones, I make it work. So
yeah. All right. Luis, good to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, you have my phone number, man. Text me anytime.
Will do. I'll start trading now.
Hell yeah. Get on you got E-Trade, right?
Yeah, I got E-Trade.
All right, cool. Yeah, holler at me if you need any help.
Will do.